All right, dude. Oh no. So right before the show, I told Sam that a couple days ago my blinds in this room like exploded off the wall. And sure enough, just as the show begins, the sun gets in a position where all you can see is the sun. So we're gonna pretend like that's not the case. Sam, how we doing, buddy? Oh,
Oh man, I'm hearing you in three different places right now. I'm trying to figure out which one to listen to. Which one's the most recent?
I could see you just get confused. Sam has probably got all of the streams up because we were making sure that everything was organized and ready to go. And it looks like he just got flashbang. Can you hear me? Is it just one
Dude,
audio source coming through?
yes, your lips are now matching the words that are coming out of them, which is great. I'm excited for that, and excited for these games, man. We've got some pretty good ones. The Bills and Patriots is again an interesting matchup, which I hate because I wish the Patriots were never good. But it's fun whenever the games are fun. And then my division, we got the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns all playing. I think in the early window,
Yeah.
and I'm betting on two of those games. Oh, sorry, Pittsburgh actually plays on Monday night, but the rest of the team's playing in the early window. So it's a spicy day for me. It's a super spicy day for you and one man named Philip Rivers.
Dude, I literally named the title of this stream on X. A 44-year-old retiree is going to be playing NFL football today. If you're unfamiliar, what started off as an incredible 7-1 beginning to a season, something that I haven't seen in about a decade as an Indianapolis Colts fan, has now ended with our starting quarterback who was playing on a broken leg, tearing his Achilles. That's a real sentence. You heard that right. Our backup quarterback broke his eye bone with an elastic band in warm up. And then our third string quarterback had a knee strain as he was coming in to play for the broken leg, torn Achilles guy. So naturally, the only option remaining was a guy who's been retired since 2020 with the Colts, to be fair, but has not played football in 5 years, is 44 years old, looks like a 44-year-old man who's been retired from professional sports for 5 years. Dude, that is the 425 slot. I'm so upset it's not in the 1 o'clock window because I wanted to. The show would have just been 4 hours of watching the Colts and Philip Rivers.
That's
Um,
right.
but man, what a ridiculous thing to say out loud.
Yeah, I'm super actually. I haven't checked this. I'm so curious what they have set the over under on Philip Rivers yards thrown, or like what are the odds that he throws a touchdown pass? Any guesses? Let's open with that
Dude,
against Seattle
where
too.
I
Is
think
not
he's
not a
gonna
terrible
be.
defense.
Listen,
Yeah,
if Rivers can walk out of this game standing upright, I think that that's a win, right? That being said, I want to see, give me like 200 total yards and a pair of touchdowns, and I think that that is a decent outing, something that doesn't make him
decent.
and the Colts
Two
look stupid.
touchdowns, two touchdowns and 200 yards is better than any Jets quarterback has done this year.
That's fair. That's fair. Listen, you know what's funny? Okay, we'll actually use this as a perfect segue. Sam and I want to start the show with our must sit, must start FDF players. I'm gonna open up with the player that I think is really interesting. Okay, so I brought up the power rankings. This is Fantasy Pros. We showed this a couple of weeks ago. This is where they have ranked. Now I'm not gonna just follow this for the sake of following this, but I wanted to use it to demonstrate where our calls are, what we believe in, what we're expecting to see from the running back position. Yeah, from the running back position, what I really like today is Travis Etienne for two reasons. I think the Jags are going to score early and often. I also think the Jags are going to be so far ahead in this game that they're going to run that ball out, and you're going to see Etienne get a lion's share of the carries on that backfield. I'm expecting like 20 to 25 touches for Etienne. Wouldn't be surprised if he scores a touchdown. I feel like today he's in a position going up against a really bad team who has traded away their best run defender in Quinnen Williams. This feels like something that a lot of people are ignoring. People haven't been starting him because he's been too boom or bust. This just feels like the right time for a guy like Travis Etienne. Sam, who do you got for running backs?
Yeah, I sat ETN last week to my demise. Unfortunately, I have him also on my play. Me and Gnoc don't tell each other what we're going to be doing before, so I think it's always interesting. And then I have Chase Brown as well. I think the Ravens and Bengals game is going to be super spicy. It's going to be a high scoring affair. if Lamar learns how to throw the ball again. And so he's definitely another one that might be getting a few touchdowns. I also am sitting Derrick Henry. As much as I do think it's going to be a high scoring affair, Derrick Henry has not been a good fantasy running back this year. He also just has not gotten a lot of touches. He's only getting like, I don't know, 12 a game or something. And historically, literally all the way back to whenever the Ravens beat the Titans in the playoffs, the first year that Lamar Jackson was great, the first year that the Titans were great, it was because the Ravens threw the ball too much that they lost. And this is a trap that they always fall into. They have the same coaching staff they did back then. Whenever they feel pressure to put a lot of points up, they start throwing the ball too much. Running deflates the point scoring across the board for both teams. And so I always am like beating my head against the wall. Why do they do this? But they always do it. And even though they have Derrick Henry, I thought it would change their ways. They're still fucking doing it. So Henry's a sit for sure.
I love that. I think my sit is probably going to be J.K. Dobbins. So RJ Harvey, the guy who's sort of setting up. We've seen a lot out of this team over the last little while. Harvey and Dobbins have been sharing the workload over the course of the season. Now that Dobbins is down, you've seen some value come out of RJ Harvey naturally, and because Football.Fun has that next man up mantra, RJ Harvey is the guy who's going to be scoring points. I don't like the matchup against Green Bay, and I think Green Bay has got an incredible run defense. I think the Broncos are a team that I really don't believe in all that much. I believe that they've got a great defense. I believe that they have the right pieces on offense. I just think that they haven't quite put it all together yet, and too often we're seeing a lot of inconsistency from Bo Nix. That pass game can't get going. The run game has no room at all, and I just don't think RJ Harvey, this early in his career, is the type of guy who can, blow the top off the defense when there's 8 guys in the box. So for that reason, I'm sitting him. Wide receivers, who you starting, Sam?
Dude, this one all comes back to somebody I should have sat last week, and because of that, I thought I should sit him again. But whenever I thought more about it, no, Justin Jefferson back in the lineup.
Wow.
I'm taking JJ here. He's going against a terrible defense. I think that if they're going to have any chance, they're going to just start chucking the ball to JJ. And, I'm willing to live or die by the fact that they're, going to have to do that.
Hey, that's bold, man. We've seen, a total of 5 catches over the course of the last 2 games combined. I think that's pretty gross. I got a boring one this week. It's Jamar Chase. I mean, listen, the Bengals are a team who now are probably out of the playoffs. Joe Burrow is frustrated. The guy wants to win. He gave a really ominous post game talking about, if you don't want to play, if it's not fun, what's the point of all this? It looked honestly pretty sad, and it reminded me a lot of what Andrew Luck was talking about right before he retired. That being said, they want to win. And they have an opportunity to play spoiler to a Ravens team who is chasing the Steelers for that division. They've got an opportunity to upset. The way that you win is you feed your best players. Jamar Chase is the best player on that team, not named Joe Burrow or Trey Hendrickson. You got to give him the ball. I feel like he's going to get fed today. I know it's a boring pick, but I'm running with it. I actually don't have a wide receiver sit today. I like the board here.
I do.
Who you giving?
It's called anybody on the Colts.
Okay. It's funny that you say that, because let's really quickly move to the tight end spot, because you said anybody on the Colts. I'm going to give you my must start tight end today. And it is absolutely Tyler Warren. And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
This is simple. Phil is 44 years old. The one thing that he has been really good at over the course of his career is getting the ball out quick. Quick to the tight end, to the intermediate routes. The Colts have 2 really good players in Josh Down and Tyler Warren, 2 guys that I think will eat today if Phillip Rivers can stay upright. If he's staying upright, he's giving the ball to Tyler Warren. Warren is also a guy who has played quarterback, who's actually the Colts' emergency quarterback. So in a situation where Phillip Rivers goes down today, Tyler Warren is getting behind the center. But I think you'll see a lot of wildcat formations. I think you're going to see him in motion. I think you're going to see him run the ball a little bit. I think the versatility, he's probably going to out-touch any other tight end in the league today. So for me, it feels really good to start a guy who's going to have lots of opportunities, despite the fact that his quarterback is 45 years old and has been on the couch for the last 5 years.
We got hype television saying, I need King Henry to get me the fantasy championship. I'm sorry, brother. I don't see it today, but maybe there's always a chance. If they get into the red zone and they just start feeding him, there's always a chance he walks away with 2 or 3 touchdowns. And he still has that breakout speed, man. Every now and then he rips off a 50 or 60 yarder. He says, I might start him in fantasy. Oh, sorry. Phil is ripping in practice. I might start him in fantasy. What could go wrong? That's ridiculous. Oh, it's Doug, Mr. Douglas Hype.
That's
Appreciate
actually
you, my
insane.
brother.
That is insanity.
Starting
Uh,
Philip Rivers is psychotic.
Sam, who's your tight end start of the day?
I think that this absolutely comes back to the three that we've been seeing. It's George Kittle, it's McBride on Indianapolis, or sorry, on Arizona, and it's Brock Bowers. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, like all roads lead to those three guys. I look at other people and I go, there's a chance. But realistically, do I feel good enough to be like, this is an outsized bet that I'm willing to place to get a lot of outsized amount of tournament points? This week, not really, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think the only thing that looks rough there is Arizona going against the number one defense in the Texans. We've seen what they've done to a few teams. But similarly, whenever you go against a really tough defense and the quarterback is scared, what does he do? He chucks it to the tight end, which is the point that you were just making. So again, all roads lead back to, well, he's probably still going to get 60 yards and a touchdown at some point, even if it's garbage time. And that's probably going to get him rank one because tight ends are just, they're down bad this year. Am I
Oh
wrong?
yeah,
Tight
man.
ends look
No,
terrible.
listen, every year it's just like who's getting the ball most often, who has an opportunity to score, and
Yep.
on a given week, I mean, Kyle Pitts, not an FDF player, not available on football.fun, but I have to talk about this as just a quick aside. This guy has been a dumpster fire for 4 years. He has not been the guy that is drafted 8th overall. On Thursday night, there are plenty of you watching this show. There are plenty of you who are going to see this on TikTok or Instagram, wherever after the show is done, who was brutalized by Kyle Pitts on Thursday night. That man had like 13 catches, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns. He actually had the highest scoring game by a tight end in points per reception since the year 2000. He
Crazy.
scored 7% of his total career fantasy football points on Thursday night in the playoffs in week 14. Somebody's season ended. For me, it was a guy in our league named Vittorio. He was not very happy with what was going on Thursday night. Hilarious to watch that play out. All right, last position of the day, quarterback position. I'm going to say something here that I think is probably going to piss some people off. I don't know that he's a must sit, but I am worried about Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills today, playing against the Patriots for 2 reasons. They're missing Tristan Benford. Benford is the man who really stole the game last week. He is the reason why the Bills won that game. He walked away with 2 interceptions at the end of that game, made a big pass breakup that sort of sealed the deal for the Bills. A massive, massive piece of that defense that I think is largely underrated. He's not there today. And that is going to hurt them from the side of the pass D. It's going to hurt them on the side of offense because I think it's going to force Josh Allen and the Bills into more obvious passing situations because I do think the Patriots get out ahead early. And Josh Allen, for as good as he is, he's at worst, on his worst day, the second best quarterback in the NFL. I just don't love Josh Allen playing hero ball in a divisional game against the Patriots in a game where, frankly, they kind of have to win this, or they're in a position now where you're playing against the tiebreaker with 3 or 4 teams and you're going to end up in that 7 seed. They don't want it. The division is likely out of reach, but if they have a chance, if they want to win the division, they got to win today. So I feel like you're going to see him air it out a lot. I don't love Josh Allen passing the ball 35 times. I'm very weary about him today.
Damn. Yeah. So I actually, we'll get into the bets in a second, but I have the over on New England and Buffalo. As far as my must start quarterbacks, must is a strong word. I put Lamar Jackson back in after sitting him last week. And then I also put in Caleb Williams against the Browns defense. I put him in not because I don't think he's definitely getting sacked a couple of times. But with that being said, I think that this is an inflection point game for the Bears, where they're either going to go into being frauds or they're going to go into being like legitimate playoff contenders. And usually you say that about around games where it's like, oh, they're playing against the Chiefs and we're going to see if they have the moxie or whatever bullshit they say on sportscast. But I think a lot of times you can tell by how they deal with the low-ranking opponents that they should put away. Like playoff teams, on average, will put this team in the dirt. They'll win by 10 points. It won't be that close, and most of the fourth quarter will be boring. And if they are able to do that, then I'm like, okay, the Bears legitimately have the sauce. And if not, then I'm scared. I'm scared for them. So I started Caleb Williams, I started Romo Dunze, and I'm excited to see if they're able to put something together. If not, if he dies, he dies. But this is also one of those opportunities for football.fun where it's like, how many people are starting Rome right now? If he
we
does
saw
manage
last week with Swift, right? We had Dan on the show. Dan
Yep.
earned 40 KTP off the backs of Swift. Dan, if you're listening to this, you're going to like what Sam just said. He thinks this game gets ugly early. and it's going to be a lot of running in that fourth quarter, which will be great for your Bears players. So are the Bears, last week you said, I'm starting anybody on the Bucks. Is this week anybody on the Bears because they need to do it?
Anybody on the Bears, and then I'm gonna immediately be a hypocrite and tell you that I also took the Browns on the money line
Oh,
because
shit.
I do think there is a chance that the Bears absolutely shit the bed. I think there's a chance that the Browns score an early touchdown and they're able to make up some progress. I also have in my notes exiting as fast as possible because what I want to see is a Browns first quarter either score or maybe they like get a sack fumble, something like that. I get a 15-20% swing and then I'm able to exit. That's the ideal scenario. I don't really want to hold this bet. The other ones I'm a little bit more comfortable with. The other bets that I took today, Cincy, by far the one that feels the most obvious. Like I saw this line and I had to double check that I wasn't seeing things because it's in Cincinnati and the Ravens are favored by a massive amount. I mean,
Yeah.
not the massive relative, like obviously the Jaguars are favored more over the Jets, but like this is really disrespectful to a team that just got Joe Burrow back. This is disrespectful to a team that a lot of people were saying could take the division as early as 2 weeks ago. People were telling me they still were going to take the division. And so I really think there's a high chance that they're able to pull that off. I also have Buffalo, New England over, like I was saying.
Yep.
I took an aggressive over too. I didn't take the 48.5 they wanted to give me for even money. I took 54.5 because I think
Holy
that
shit. So yeah, you're looking
realistically,
at like a score in the 30s here then.
this is going to be a game where either it's boring and a defensive struggle like we see sometimes in divisional matchups, or it's going to be like Chiefs and Buffalo Bills that we've seen in the past, where despite the fact that the Chiefs, especially historically, have a pretty good defense, it's still been like 45-48.
Yeah.
Like that's the games that they score. And so I'm looking for one of those. It is in New England. I don't love the chances of it, but the money was good enough that I was willing to take it. And then I'm under in Texans Cardinals, 42.5. That one feels like a very low likelihood that both teams put up over 20 points. There is a chance that the Texans put up like 30, and then this looks pretty ugly, but I'm liking it.
I love it. I'm going to give you three really quick ones here. This is a boring line, but Hustle said this to us. If you could buy dollars for 86 cents, would you do it? I'm buying dollars in Jacksonville today. There is
No,
a snowball's chance in hell. And to me, the Jags are in the control of the division. The Texans are on their heels. We're going to see what happens to the Colts today at 425. But as it stands right now, the Jags control their destiny. If they cannot bury this team, then they're in a world of hurt, both for the
dude.
playoff position and, frankly, even if they get in, I don't believe that they're going to be able to beat a team if they can't bury the Jets. To me, this feels like the freest money of the week, even more so than like the Eagles and the Raiders game. I largely think the Eagles are fraud, and if you're looking at them at the same line, I would rather take the team that I don't think is a fraud. And the Jags look good. The offense is humming. Liam Cohen is in the running for coach of the year. That defense has looked great. To me, I'm taking this line. I know it's boring. I don't care. I'm buying dollars for 86 cents in Jacksonville. The second line that I love today, I'm with you. I'm taking
Wait,
Cincinnati.
real quick. Right next to Jets Jacksonville, I've got three words. It just says Jags trap game.
No, it is not. Dude, listen.
When has Jacksonville ever met our expectations for a consistent period of time?
I think that that's fair. I think when you look at, dude, I can't even name the quarterback for the Jets today. I don't remember his name. And
Me neither.
I'm trying to think about this because Tyrod isn't playing. They sat Fields. I think it was Brady Cook. It might be Brady Cook, who might as well just be an NPC that they like spawned in and made up. That's not a real guy. No disrespect to Brady Cook, of course. You're in the NFL. I'm at home talking about the NFL, but you're not an NFL quarterback. That's the one thing we've got in common, right? I think when you look at Baltimore and Cincinnati, this is a game. It was me. I was the idiot who 2 weeks ago was saying the Bengals could win this division, only
And
for that
Oliver.
to be followed up with Joe Burrow looking like he might retire right then and there on the spot. But I do think at 39 cents, this is a wildly mispriced line given how good the Bengals have looked over the last little while and how bad the Ravens have looked. To me, I don't think the gap between these two teams is a 20% chance to win. I think that it's much closer. It should probably be priced around 45, 55. So I think that there's a little bit of value to be taken here. I also just like the Bengals. They play fun football. Joe Burrow
Yeah.
just airs the ball out. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, these guys can score from literally anywhere on the field. And there's only about 2 or 3 other teams in the league that you can say that about. So for me, I love the Bengals. I love Jacksonville. It hurts me to say, especially after what happened to me last weekend in Jacksonville. We saw the entire hopes and dreams of Indiana sports fans everywhere just up in flames, but they have to hammer the Jets today or they're done. Their season is effectively over if this isn't like a 20-point win.
So I'm curious why you didn't take New England too, because New England now at 43% is looking a little bit juicy. I mean, you said you think they're going to get out early. Why not take it? Maybe exit at
Yeah.
60, 55%. They're at home.
So I'll tell you why. I don't like betting on the AFC East because I have like when it's a divisional game
The
because
DJ King himself just
Dub's
walked in
on
the
board.
door, by the way.
What's
Big,
up,
big
Dub?
Dub in the building. What's up?
I'll say this: I don't like betting on the AFC, East, especially when it's a divisional game, especially when it's Josh Allen in December football. For
Yeah.
me, there is so much bullshit that can happen in this game that has happened in this. I mean, we saw it at the end of the Bengals-Bills game last week, right? This looked like it was done, and sure enough, Benford comes up with 2 plays. Then we talked about he's not playing today, so maybe there's a little bit of an issue. I think what ends up happening in this game is it looks like a Patriots game for most of the day. You're going to see 1 or 2 big plays come off by the Bills defense or James Cook with a big run, and the Bills are somehow going to end up stealing this game with very little time left on the clock in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm envisioning happening here. So for me, it's, do I think the line moves big enough off of a 1 or 2 scores from New England? I think the answer is probably no, because I think a lot of other people are also looking at this game and going, we know Josh Allen is going to pull off some bullshit and end up winning this game despite probably playing pretty poorly.
Fair enough. I don't know. I'm of 2 minds about it. You know, the other thing that sticks out to me here is if you look at the Baltimore Cincinnati lines, how much those have, I guess, become divergent over the past couple of days here. I mean, they opened with Cincinnati favored, which is kind of what I was referring to. And now we're at a point where they couldn't be further apart. It's like almost unbelievable that Cincy's at 38% now, again, as the home team. I guess people are looking a lot at the fact that they don't really have much to play for anymore. And also that Joe Burrow video, I think, honestly, is living rent-free in people's heads. As somebody who has felt that way at least once a quarter of you know, as in every 3 months, for the past, 33 years of my life, I'm going to say that Joe Burrow's completely fine. We're looking way too much into it. I would also feel that way after every game if I was injured for most of the season and also had to play in fucking Cincinnati. And so I think he's going to come out. He's going to shut everybody up like he always does. And he's going to have a great game. So I'm really liking Cincy here. The other one that did stick out to me, I thought about maybe taking Las Vegas, not on the money line, but with the 12 points, just because I feel like the Eagles are just tough to believe in right now, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree there. I mean, listen, we saw Jalen Hurts. Yeah, dude was like Oprah. Everybody gets a turnover. Everybody gets in it. Jalen Hurts, actually, it's funny that you bring this up. I want to say this before the games. The games are about to kick off. We'll get there in a second. I have to air this out. Jalen Hurts delivered what was maybe the most insane thing we've ever seen in professional sports over the course of the last year here. He threw an interception, recovered a fumble of that interception, and then fumbled the football again on that same play. He is the first person in history to have a negative 4-point play in fantasy. He had 2 turnovers on 1 play. The guy had 6 turnovers over the course of the night. The Eagles looked terrible. I don't think that team is nearly as good. It blows my mind that they were able to win multiple Super Bowls and consistently be competitive with a guy at the quarterback position who can't see 5 yards downfield. It is insane to me that this played out the way that it did. I don't mind, taking that Vegas line. Much like I said earlier, I don't trust Philadelphia. 13 cents. If this was 1 cent, Dub, who's in the background over there, would be hammering this line. But for me, it's like, listen, you've got a guy playing quarterback for a team who literally turned the ball over twice in 1 play. I actually did not know that was possible. I thought surely there's like some rule to the number of turnovers that can happen in a play. Evidently, the answer to that is no. 2 turnovers in a single play, 6 turnovers over in a game. Can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. Not a whole lot to like in Philadelphia. I'm with you. I think the Vegas line is a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse here, but it does have shades of Carson Wentz, right? Where we all go,
Two
and it's
sprains,
ironic.
baby.
It's ironic. It's the Eagles again, right? But we all go, man, like this guy's the future. I can't believe like Eagles got like a generational quarterback, and then a couple of years later, we're like, is that the same dude?
Yeah,
Like, what-
dude. Fun fact about Carson Wentz: he is the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to sprain both ankles on a single play. So that
so they
was
got two turnovers in a single play. Now they got two ankle
Pat
sprains.
McAfee and the boys were calling him two sprains leading up to that game there. Okay, we're about to have the 1 o'clock kickoff, Sam. I will open up. I'm realizing now that I'm just streaming to you the background music of Red Zone here. So I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
open that up. As
We
we're
got
talking,
a
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, we got Doug in the chat asking what jersey I'm wearing. This is the old school Steelers, like 1940 print that I just had to scoop up whenever I saw it. Super awesome line. On the packs this week, guys, we're gonna have the first one we're kicking off with is going to be the first quarterback to get a rushing touchdown. The first quarterback to get a rushing touchdown. This one is going to be persistent, doesn't have to be before the top of the hour or anything. There has to be a quarterback that is FDF listed. It has to be on the FDF lineup. So of that top 10 or so that are on there. And then if you pick the first one, we will get you a pack, assuming that not too many people tie. Gnoc, thoughts on maybe doing the YouTube as the universal source of truth? Because I can confirm it does actually save the comments on YouTube.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Well, let's use YouTube as universal source of truth. So if you're making your bet, post on YouTube, give us who you think, or your prediction, give us who you think will be the first quarterback to score a rushing touchdown. We'll monitor it, we'll continue to go. I'm also showing this is what we did last year. If you want to, for a little bit of redundancy, if you want to be safe, go to this post at ITSGNOC, look for the 44-year-old retiree who's starting in an NFL game today. Comment on this post who you believe the first rushing quarterback will be. Alongside that, as the games are kicking off, that is the evergreen one Sam has described. That will run throughout the course of the day. If it takes 4 hours, it takes 4 hours. God knows last week we cursed 2 entire position groups by the next person to score. So we're giving that the whole day instead of what happened last week, which was we gave an hour and a half for a wide receiver touchdown. Nobody scored. We're also going to do our Q1 kickoff giveaway here, which is the most points by a running back on football.fun by 2:05 p.m. Eastern. Make your comments, get them in now. We're looking at most points by a running back on football.fun. You're going to see it here. It's going to filter by running backs. Whoever is the top of this list, or well, of active players, obviously, whoever's at the top of this list, not including Bijan Robinson, not including Bucky Irving, by 2:05 p.m. Eastern will be the winner of that pack giveaway. So get your comments in, make sure that you're posting there. I would do both. Get it on YouTube, get it on X, just to be sure that some tomfoolery doesn't happen like a couple of weeks ago.
We got Mr. Douglas saying rushing is going to be Lamar because he needs those fantasy points. So he's double dipping. He wants the fantasy and also the packs both to work out. Ramondre Stevenson already breaking off a 20-yarder, which you don't hate if you're looking at that over. Texans starting with the ball here. Nico Collins has been a really big surprise this year from my point of view, mostly just because CJ Stroud was dreadful at first, injured after that, and there's Nico Collins.
How's that for a caster's curse? Look at this. Talking about Nico Collins, rips a huge one off. We're going to show that up. We'll bring that up in just a second here. What a hilarious timing there.
That was crazy, man. Yeah, so Nico pretty much instantaneously going to be a top wide receiver off of that very first play. I think that was about, was that 57 yards?
Yeah, that was like a 13-yard play or 13-point play here.
Beautiful work from the kid.
Oh, no. I got some bad news for Sam. So at the beginning of the game, beginning of the show, Sam said, I really like Caleb Williams. I really like Rome Odunze. Here's some information that came out just before kickoff. Bears wide receiver Rome Odunze, who's active, is being ruled out after aggravating a foot injury right before kickoff. So out of the, and there's Dub laughing at him in the background. So out of the gate, Sam is down a guy.
Well, at least Dub is enjoying it quite a lot behind me, and I'm happy for that. Damn, that's brutal. Okay, well, this does bode well for the fact that I took the Browns money line, but the fact that they gave up a 55-yard kickoff return also doesn't feel great.
And look at
So
that. So we had a gameplay on Thursday night. Mecca Buka and Drake London had scored. Drake London was injured. I believe Darnell Mooney would be the next man up in that particular case, scoring 6.5 points. But literally 1:06 p.m., Nico Collins, 12.7 points, barring absolute collapse. You gotta figure he's gonna finish the day in the top 5 slot.
absolutely. I just sent you a article too, or a Reddit link that is a great jumping off point because you mentioned Egbuka. I've been beating the drum on this guy all year long. That you know, I had him early in fantasy. He really rewarded me for that. The Bucks had a few other injuries that I think has tainted his ability to get wide open targets the way that he was getting earlier in the year. But the question here is Egbuka cooked as a wide receiver at this point? He has 110 targets, which is the eighth most in the NFL. Only Jamar Chase, McBride, the tight end for Arizona, and JSN, Olave, Pickens, these guys that are just getting the ball yeeted to them all the time, have more. But that's because Egbuka is a rookie. They weren't targeting very much in the beginning of the season. Now they're targeting him a ton. But he has less than a 50% catch rate, which is 181st among 192 qualifiers, which is absolutely insane. One more thing to add to it, only 63 of the 110 balls have been catchable. So 57% of the balls are catchable, which looks way less bad for Egbuka, way worse for Baker Mayfield whenever you start looking into advanced analytics there.
I think what you're seeing, right, as we're bringing back up these lines, I want to see what's going on here. It looks like that Buffalo New England line has already converged. Jacksonville jumps up, Philadelphia jumps up. Nothing has happened in those games, by the way. That's just kickoff. All right, now that the game's officially started, they've got a better chance to win. You said something that's really important there. This is a combination issue, right? I think what you're seeing out of Ibuka is he's a guy who runs okay routes. He is not somebody who's going to beat you at the point of catch. He's somebody who mostly wins off of athleticism. And when you have a guy like Baker Mayfield, who is willing to kind of chuck up a little more 50-50 balls than your average quarterback would, I think what you're seeing here is some growing pains between a veteran quarterback who expects things to happen one way and a rookie wide receiver who's trying to find his footing. I think Igbuka is a great talent. I think he's obviously got the targets now to eat. It's just about how do you convert. And to your point, only 57% of those 110 targets were deemed as catchable. Now, that said, Igbuka also has 8 drops. So of your 60 or so catches or balls that were within range, you've dropped 12% of them. It's a combination of just a bunch of really bad things happening for these guys over the last couple of weeks.
The New England Patriots have entered the end zone. Drake May with a rushing touchdown. If anybody had Drake May as their QB that was going to get the first one, there it is. Also, the Jaguars score a touchdown, passing touchdown from Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas. So ETN feasters not super happy about that. Doug asking, is that Dub laughing? Yes, it is. AJ Romero saying DJ Moore is going to be the injury cover for Rome Odunze. I don't hate that.
I like that. Honestly, I almost like it better. I will say this. We got Storm saying most points by 2 p.m. or 2:05 p.m. as a running back is going to be Bucky Irving, which is a bold one because he had played on Thursday. Doug Hype, I choose Lamar. First rushing TD by QB, to your point. I have already said this. Dub just says in our chat, buying Arizona at 6% here. Of course you are. He's also probably going to buy the New York Jets at 9% and the Las Vegas Raiders at 9% as well.
Wait, the Texans are already in the red zone again. What happened? Oh, they're about to show it. Kickoff, business as usual. Got to be a fumble.
Oh, that is a
wow.
Love to see it.
Right up in the air.
That is a cartoonish fumble.
That was.
We're going to bring up a couple of these clips. It looks like things are starting to populate now on Reddit. Just a really quick reminder, 2 ongoing challenges today. The first, you have to name the first quarterback to score a rushing TD. If you've said Drake May, you've already won. If nobody has said Drake May, it is still open, so I'm willing to give you an opportunity to go in and put that in there. Also, most running back points by 2:05 p.m. Eastern. Comment on my at at ITSGNOC. It's not. Comment on the post that you see there for Amplified this episode. Go to Sam's YouTube channel, comment in the YouTube comments because that also is saved. I'm going to see if we can bring up some football here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a single Drake May prediction. I'm seeing some Josh Allen. That one makes sense. I'm seeing some CJ Stroud. That one makes sense, even though he's not a football.fun listed quarterback. Unfortunately, though, Drake May not on the list. So next quarterback rushing
Here's
touchdown.
the BTJ touchdown.
Too easy.
Nice route there. Keyshawn Boutte with a huge play from Drake May. This is what I think is going to set them up to be in a great position. Again, beating Hairston, and Lee, who is stepping in today for the injured Tristan Benford. That is going to haunt them all day long. And here's that 57-yard touchdown on the opening drive by Nico Collins. Now, keep in mind, Nico earns 1 point for the catch, 5.7 points for the yardage, and 6 points on that touchdown. That is a 12.7 point play. That puts him into first place on football.fun already. And then here's just more sadness. Roma Dunze, Sam's must play. Myles Garrett speaks Japanese in his pregame. Interesting.
Oh man. I
gotta Cyber. That's not gonna work. Drake May has already scored. You can't give me Drake May now, unless you're saying he's gonna do it again. In which case, I will absolutely take Drake May as the 2-time rushing quarterback score here.
Yeah, I have another must-sit wide receiver that I didn't get a chance to talk about earlier, Gnoc, and it is Steelers' very own DK Metcalf. And I know that he was a top fiver last week, so this is not great. But if you click the link that I just sent you in Telegram, the Steelers had him as a fucking gunner.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't watch football, a gunner is somebody that does arguably the most dangerous job in the NFL, which is sprint down the field, get double team blocked by 2 people that are basically just trying to fuck you up, and then make a very aggressive, risky tackle. And to do this with your wide receiver that's making $30 million a year just seems insane to me.
Yeah, like a not very smart idea here. We're going to bring this up. This is insane. Also, really quick aside, to Sam's point, yes, a wildly dangerous position to play. The other thing that is crazy about the gunner position is that there are no rules out in that gunner position. If you're somebody who grew up playing football, if you watch football, gunner is a spot where you maybe are not starting in your position of choice. This is an opportunity for you to kind of come in and give yourself a chance to play. This is not something that a $30 million wide receiver does with any frequency. And he talks about it after. He's like, that was a terrible experience. I have a lot of respect for anybody in the NFL who plays gunner.
Not only is it not frequent, I can't think of a time I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody making more than like $8 million a year.
I think you're right. You occasionally see like some star players returning the ball because you want to put the ball in their hand, but to just go out there and get mauled for 60 yards is a wild choice for your wide. Also, that was in the middle of his top 5 placement game, so he was scoring well. It wasn't like he was having a bad day.
True. Yeah, I mean, they were targeting him like crazy, so maybe they said, you know, little bit of push pull. You go do the dirty work. We'll also reward you with some targets.
Travis Kelce just picked a football basically off the ground. Looks like the Eagles here are in scoring position.
They sure are.
Little shovel pass, and is that Dallas Goedert? And that sure is. That should put him in first place. That probably has cemented him as a top 5. Storm, I see you also saying Drake May. If you guys count that as another attempt, we're going to roll with it, but that is not a retroactive answer. That's not going to fly.
Unhinged also saying, I full blasted May a few days ago. Let's fucking go. Well, congratulations. Great decision so far. Reminder, guys, go to the YouTube. I just dropped it in the Twitter chats. If you want to give us a prediction of the next quarterback that's going to score a rushing touchdown, I recommend don't pick Jalen Hurts because they just scored. Jaden Daniels also. Oh, no, he's not on FTF. Doesn't count anyway.
He's also broken.
Josh Allen. I'm not sure what's going on in that drive. The Jets going for it on 4th and 1 in their own side of the field. I think the stream froze for a second, but I don't think they got it. Yeah, Cook at quarterback, like you mentioned earlier, Gnoc.
Brady Cook. This is why the Jets will always be the Jets. You're running 4th and 1, your half of the field. It's only 8 minutes into the first quarter.
Steve asking if YouTube is the place to chat today. Yes, let's go to YouTube and hang out there. Appreciate you, brother. I know Twitter's home to me as well, but we're gonna try to preserve the chat because unfortunately it gets lost on Twitter. So if you guys don't mind sliding over there, would much appreciate it. Gnoc, let's go into a little bit of meme madness. I got a couple queued up for you. If you want to pop open that first TikTok link and then go into this Instagram one that my very own brother just sent us literally as we were kicking the show off. I haven't seen it before. I just know enough to know that it's dangerous.
Yeah, let me pull this up. Hold on. Okay, this was the Kevin Stefanski is the head coach of the Browns. If I can turn this audio on here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
To the left. Fakes to the right.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go down so we can see old Dub.
What's going on here? There we go.
I don't know where I am. I can't breathe.
Not only do we not see Dub Sam, I also don't see. This is creepy. The camera is slow pan down.
Cinematic, I think, is the word that you're looking for.
What is that?
Damn. Well, 10 minutes, or sorry, 4 minutes have elapsed. The Texans have already scored 10 points, and they're about to get the ball back again. So the under on 42.5 is not feeling great for your boy right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a good thing there. Where is... I want to show this play. Let's pull it up here. Now Dub just looks like a parrot or something hanging out on your shoulder. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at this. This is replay assist determining that this is not a catch.
Oh, because his foot, his second foot.
To me, this looks like he gets both down right there.
Nah,
right.
I think he misses with the toe tap, doesn't he?
Elevated.
Yeah, he's off the ground, brother.
Oh yeah, look at that. He clacks his heels.
Yeah, give him a little.
Here's Mahomes. Pat Mahomes takes it in himself for the touchdown. So that's 2 rushing quarterback touchdowns. Do we have a single Pat Mahomes bet?
I haven't seen one, brother. Steve in the comments says eyes on the Ravens versus Bengals, Chargers versus Chiefs, Raiders versus Eagles. Not much to watch in that one. And Bills and Patriots this morning. I'm with you on the other 3. Raiders and Eagles looks tough right now. We got to get more predictions in here for the rushing QBs, boys.
We also
the game that I just have zero interest in watching at all is this Giants Redskins game. I mean,
oh yeah, nobody cares.
It's just disgusting.
It's Jackson Dart with none of his players, and it's the Redskins or the Commanders with absolutely nobody on that team.
Yeah, ridiculous. Appreciate you guys jumping over. See a few people making their way. Snaky in the comments on Twitter too. What's up, my guy? Good to see you again. Thanks for coming back. Knock a couple more memes in your Telegram chat if you want to pop these open.
Yes, sir.
Trevor Lawrence absolutely dicing the Jets so far.
Told you they've been looking good, man. I mean, they're playing the Jets, so it's a low bar. But
until I see a playoff win from these guys, I just don't. I have zero faith. I have
some faith in Liam Cohen, but hard to disagree. Okay, let's pull these up. Oh yeah, this Instagram one I have seen is hilarious. Hold on.
Tell you who's a better team.
I'm ruining it because I'm trying to prep this video and I'm watching it myself now and just completely zoned out and was in my own world here for a second. So we're gonna pull this up. I promise. It's not just gonna be me watching it.
I got too many tabs.
You're gonna flap the hat
Can't find you.
For the hard fight they did.
Let's go birds, fly, eagles fly. That's why we had it.
Fly, eagles fly.
To show you who's a better team.
He's crying.
The fact that he starts crying is insane, bro. So good. What a champion. What a champion, man.
Let's go birds,
I hope I do.
No.
Let's go birds. Here
Let's
is.
go birds, man.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. Watch this.
At number 5, we have the Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who is blind in both eyes because every throw goes everywhere except to his teammates. It doesn't matter what the financial repercussions are anymore. This needs to be his last season in Miami. Sitting at number 4, we have the Hawaiian turnover machine Tua Tagovailoa, who has color blindness, also called CVD. This is a condition where a person has difficulty seeing or distinguishing certain colors, because all he does is throw interceptions. At number 3, we have the $45 million a year quarterback Tua Tagovailoa with prosopagnosia. This is a neurological disorder that makes it difficult for a person to recognize or distinguish between faces, because he clearly can't tell his receivers from the defenders. At number 2, we have Tua Tagovailoa, who is suffering from decision-making paralysis. This guy sees a wide open man and still somehow always decides to launch it into double or triple coverage. And at number 1 is Tua Tagovailoa with myopia, because he can only see defenders who are 5 yards away. These are 5...
Man, I don't know what Tua did to that guy, but this Fly Eagles Fly guy
Poor
is
Tua,
playing.
man.
It's 14-0 Jacksonville at this moment. Let's really quick take a look at FTF scores and rankings, see where we're at. We're going to have AJ from Sport.fun on shortly. We're going to bring up the running back leaderboard here, and we have Travis Etienne is in 6th with 2 points. So moving on up, almost in scoring position, Sam, with his no yardage. It does kind of suck. We've now seen 14 points scored by the Jags, only 2 fantasy points worth of movement from Travis Etienne. That being said, we did say at the top of the hour, our play here was not he's going to come out of the gate swinging. Our play here was they should hammer this team. You should see Travis Etienne with a ton of touches late into the game. DeAndre Swift just moves into 5th place with 2.1 points off the backs of that play.
We got Snaky picking Trevor Lawrence for the next rushing QB touchdown. We also have Sports Short saying most points is going to be running back Bucky Irving. Doesn't count, unfortunately, because he played a full game. Needs to be somebody in the early window. And quarterback, he's picking Drake May again. I mean, back-to-back rushing TDs for the kid. Not impossible, but it is a little scary. Quick update on some of these bets. The Cincinnati Bengals already up at 52% after they were at 39 just before kickoff, which is crazy. Buffalo and New England over 54.5 also is up a little bit for me just because that early touchdown from New England. Arizona and Texans, it's looking rough. Under 42.5. I don't want to look at that too much. And Cleveland still hanging in there.
Let's pull up. Yeah,
Our
it's
own
10
Easy
Oakland.
Eats on the field at the Jets game.
Easy Eats is on the field at the Jets
That's
game
actually
watching
why
this
he's not
match.
here today. He told me he was going to be there on the Jets game. I feel so bad for him, man. He is a diehard Jets fan, and they are just not good. I'm going to tell him my condolences right now.
I mean, 3% odds feels pretty good. We take that.
This team sucks. Here's the post from Easy. I'm going to share this really quickly. Why can't the Jets even be mediocre? Like, I'm not asking for good. Why can't they just be subpar? This team sucks, man. I hate it. We are at 1:24 p.m. It has barely been a half an hour into kickoff. The Jets have already lost the game, and we will probably stop checking in on that one shortly.
Well, DeAndre Swift just barely got in the end zone for the Chicago Bears as Joe Burrow runs for his life, ends up getting sacked for like 15 yards, knocks him out of field goal range. You hate to see that if you're me.
DeAndre
as a
Swift
person
up
who's
there,
the Bengals.
climbing up there now too, Sam, to your point, should be one of the higher scoring running backs. As it stands right now, if you've bet DeAndre Swift, I mean, you still have to wait 40 minutes here, but he is currently the highest scoring active running back at 8.7 points. So even all you cheeky little buggers who chose Bucky Irving, you're still wrong because DeAndre Swift's 8.7 points is now past Bucky Irving.
That's crazy, man. Football is insane. The fact that you can have, the starting running back of a team that scored 28 points and he's still like worse than the guy that in 5 minutes put up a touchdown and a few carries. Steve Adler says, I'll take Allen for a QB rush since T-Law already did it. Did Trevor Lawrence get in on a rush? I thought the second one was a touchdown.
Yeah. No, Trevor Lawrence, I believe, took one in himself. Let's do a quick
Okay.
check in there. We're gonna have AJ on shortly here. I'm gonna bring him up.
If that's the case, Snakey in the YouTube comments did have Trevor Lawrence as his next pick. So he would have gotten that one, but I'm happy to run it back since we only had one winner. I say we just keep it going.
Let's do it. I'm gonna write that down, Snakey. I will follow up with you afterwards.
I grabbed his Twitter account
Beautiful.
for you as
Thank
well.
you.
Unhinged says that guy definitely lost a bet on account of a Tua interception. It does crazy things
two
to
or
all of us.
three. All right, we are gonna bring in Adam or AJ. I'm gonna call him up in a second
Nice.
here.
The Chiefs out to an early lead. However, the Chargers are driving right now, just entering field goal range. We'll see if they can firm that up. I also sat, I believe, every Chargers starter that I have on FDF. So Lad McConkey, Omarion Hampton, Justin Herbert, all sits for me. I don't like it, but it does feel like what needed to be done. The Jets now entering field goal range, so maybe a little bit of a bite back on them. I do feel like what's going to happen here is the Jags are going to start playing a little bit soft because of the fact that they're just scoring at will already. But with that being said, bad teams have a habit of consistently making bad plays. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Chiefs stand strong, deny the Chargers on 3rd and 2. We'll see what they're going to do here.
We are playing. Here we go. Making sure that color looks good. Okay, we've got a few things here. This is Trevor Lawrence avoids the sack, runs it in for the TD. This is a hell of a play to have won that prediction on. Wow, great play.
Yeah, it is. Damn.
Pittsburgh, the Dolphins practice in the snow in Pittsburgh for Monday Night Football. Funny, if you've got to do this, a crash course in winter football, you're probably already fucked.
You're cooked.
Here's that quick pass to Dallas
game.
to Goddard. Here's what we were talking about earlier. This is that little shovel pass. You can see Barkley come in motion across the screen, and Hurts just throws it underneath. It's about the only throw he can make, but it works. And there it is. Yeah, Jalen Hurts pretty much condemned to 2-yard shovel passes.
I hate that guy.
He's dealing with
any Eagles fans listening. I don't care. I hate him.
Wow.
Steve Adler says he's picking Hampton, the Chargers running back for the Q1 running back, and then immediately says the Chargers are kicking Rip. Sorry, brother.
So as it stands right now, DeAndre Swift in first, Saquon Barkley, Travion Henderson, Chase Brown, Ashton Genty in that order for most points by 2:05 p.m. by a running back. So you still have 35 minutes to get in those predictions. Let's give you have 15 minutes to get in those predictions. I don't want anybody coming in at 2:07 with, I think it's Bucky Irving.
Oh man, the Cardinals currently sitting at -7 total yards, and the Texans walk in for another touchdown. Now 17-0. That's disgusting.
I think that under is gonna go under, Sam. Cybernova saying DeAndre Swift, he believes that Swift will hold on to that first seed over the course of the next 40 minutes.
That was a crazy play from the Texans. We have to pull up that highlight whenever it comes up. It looks like what they did was CJ Stroud was under center, and then they fake snapped it to him. They actually shotgun snapped it to the single back running back, and it almost squirted through his legs. He just barely catches it and then runs in for the touchdown.
Okay, I got to pull that up.
Wild trick play, if it was a trick play, not just a giant mistake.
Hey, man, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
That's right.
Bad snap is what did they say?
Another Mahomes rush. That's his pick. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let's see if they do the slow-mo replay, because that's kind of what I had to see in order to
the weirdest looking thing I've seen.
Woody
Marks. Hey, my shitty fantasy team is out of the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. No slow-mo here. Hold on, let's watch it. I really don't even understand what's going on here.
The ball's already in the running back's hands. Like As soon as
CJ Stroud
turns
hasn't
around-
even turned around. You know what I
Yeah.
think may have happened here? It doesn't look like Stroud is under center. I'm zooming in. I don't understand how this ball, this image, this still doesn't make any sense at all. Like Stroud is under center, the ball is behind him, hits Woody Marks in the feet.
runs it in.
Hey, we'll take it.
Yeah,
here's,
that was crazy.
Sack
Brady
on Josh
Cook.
on.
The sniper
Wow. Let's
To
go,
who?
Jack.
gets in the end zone.
To Adonai Mitchell or what?
I didn't catch who it was to, but all I know is Easy Eats has never had a moment this great in his entire life.
It's true.
Wow, the
Ooh,
Kenny Pickett just looking
Oof.
what
with the
was
worst
that?
throw I've seen in a generation.
That was batted. That was batted. But on fourth down, it looks real ugly. It looks real ugly. The Commanders are driving and sack fumble, as is tradition. I should have picked the under on this slop fest. My God. My
These
God.
Giants jerseys are just not it.
Imagine spending real American dollars to go to that game.
All right, we have got AJ
Oh,
in the background here. We're gonna pull him up. Just give me 1 second here, AJ, and we'll get you up.
Lamar Jackson getting sacked. Cincy standing strong. The Browns now down 7, gonna see what they can do, but they're on their own 30. And Dylan Gabriel
Dylan
puts the legs to
Gabriel.
work.
What's up, AJ?
What's up,
AJ,
guys?
How we doing?
How you
man?
doing? A little sour also because the guy
I
I'm
can't hear
playing.
AJ. Can you?
Oh, I've got him loud and
Oh,
clear.
can you not hear me?
Can you hear him
Oh.
in Video Ninja, Sam?
No.
That's weird.
You can
How's
hear
that
us
possible?
though, right, AJ?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you guys
As,
cook. I'll
as
try to figure
Sam
it out.
continues to stare at his screen intensely, we'll have a conversation and he'll just hear half of it.
Yeah.
Why are you sour? What's going on?
Well, you have Woody Marks, but the guy I'm playing in my playoffs has Nico Collins and Woody Marks,
Ooh.
and I'm getting a
Oh.
lot of messages. Yeah, it's tough.
That is less than
Although
ideal.
I should not even be in the playoffs because I was 2-7, and then I won out, and I needed like a combination of other people to lose last weekend, and it all
Dang.
happened.
Somebody
kinda fun.
in the Chiefs game just got hit so hard. That's like a forget ages 8 to 12 kind of hit right here.
Oh my God.
And it's just the ground too. Oh, that's dirty actually. Well, we'll bring that up in a second here. AJ, which team have you unfortunately decided that you are going to be a fan of? Because for Sam and I, it's the Steelers and the Colts.
Oh yeah, no, I think mine's worse for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
I'm a Dolphins fan.
Oh, dude, 10 minutes before you came up, we watched the
Don't hurt
Instagram
him like
clip
that, bro.
of
Don't hurt him like
NFL players who are currently in the league playing with a disability, and it was Tua for the top 5.
Oh, I heard that
And
in
he
the
was
background. Yeah,
all blind. That
all
is
accurate.
that is a rough go, man. I mean, listen, Waddle looks great. A-Chain looks great. There's some exciting things
Yeah.
there. Tua, probably time for Mr. Turn the Ball Over to leave.
I mean, shouldn't he have gone like a year or two ago
should
when
be
he had like
playing
5
football.
concussions?
Yeah, he should not be playing football. That guy,
That's scary.
listen, whenever you start throwing up gang signs off the backs of a concussion, that's not a good thing neurologically. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be playing football.
No, it's crazy. That's why he's not in FDF.
That's why you chose him yourself. No, we're not putting him in. Can't be heartbroken in that manner.
Yeah, we can't make people suffer like that.
We got some pandering in the comments here. He says next quarterback rushing touchdown is going to be Jalen Hurts, and by the way, AJ is a cutie. Just a heads up.
So AJ, lots going on. I don't want to turn this into too deep of an interview, but talk to me. There's a whole lot of things going on in the FDF world. You guys have been on an absolute run. We've been really excited to like have somebody on from the team, chat a little bit about it, geek out with the product, watch some football. Talk to me. What's going on in the FDF world? What's on the calendar over the course of the next week? It feels like there's maybe 1 or 2 big things on the horizon here.
Yeah, man, it's been really, really busy. Whole team has just been heads down grinding. It's been really great though. I think next week's going to be crazy is really, really the most we can say. I think that's clear. There's been enough hints on the timeline.
I've been told I'm allowed to say something about an ICO happening, potentially.
Came from the
Yeah. I think we've From God himself, I
Yeah,
know.
You
I know.
From the man upstairs.
That's who it
And
was.
just
Yeah.
like that, Drake May with back-to-back rushing touchdowns. This is craziness,
No, there's
dude.
no way did that really just happen?
I swear to God.
That is so funny because we now have Storm and Cybernova, who 22 minutes ago, off the backs of the first Drake May touchdown, then tried to sort of scam their way in here a little bit and say Drake May right after, hoping I didn't catch it. And sure enough, I think Drake May is actually the next quarterback who scored, right? We have the Trevor Lawrence, there was one person, and now we have Cybernova, Storm, who've been crushing it the last couple of weeks on some of these challenges. Are now back in it with the Drake May. Love to see it. Sports Shorts etc.
My guy, he got that buff from calling AJ a cutie and immediately was blessed with a bat.
You gotta love it. AJ got saved by the bell there on the ICO question. We see a bunch of scores. We'll say
So there's sports happening. Sorry, there's sports.
Listen, we obviously, I mean, we wouldn't be doing the show if we weren't a big fan of the product, right? But I will say it's been a really fun viewing experience as well. You guys built the NFL product relatively quickly compared to how long it took you guys to get. Some people will say the real football. I will say soccer out to market.
Soccer just makes it easier for this type.
Yeah, that must have been chaos.
It really wasn't that chaotic. I mean, our engineering dev team is just like insane. I've never seen anything like it. And like from my experience, just so people have context, what I've seen, I was working at a crypto fund. We had a liquid book and a venture arm as well. So, through both of those avenues, probably looked at and invested in over 100 different crypto companies, right? And looked at all of them. I mean, met every team that there is. What's that?
I said, and that's how they landed AJ. You've seen it all. You saw something great. You had to take it.
Yeah, and like me specifically, even before I was at this fund, how I got into crypto really deep was because of So Rare. And I wasn't personally deep into Top Chat, but of course I had tons of friends over there watching it. So sort of my own personal niche has always been sports crypto. And I had actually invested in Atom and the company about a year ago. And someone had sent it to me because they're like, hey, you really know soccer and crypto. Can you take a look at this? And I actually ignored the message for 2 months because I had just seen so many people try to copy So Rare. Not that their product was perfect, but it's just like, guys, like I haven't seen a single good pitch. I didn't even open the attachment for 2 months. And then it was like Christmas, New Year's, and I was cleaning out my inbox, and I was just like, all right, you know what? Like for the sake of my friend who sent the message, I'll take the call.
Wow.
I had the lowest of expectations. I was just like, let me just get through this call and I'll never have to think about this again. And by the end of, I think, 30, 40 minutes talking to Adam, I was like, can you please take my money? Because I was like, you totally get this. I was like, every issue that I know that can happen, I pressed him on and he had the answers for it. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a year ago that he and I were talking. And then I was advising them, because I wanted the product to be really good. So I was there in the closed beta, just always giving advice that I could. And then I joined in September, full time. And so, yes, so in terms of the NFL product, I wasn't there when they, I wasn't on the team when they built the soccer product. That did genuinely take probably a year.
Yeah.
And then we were not even planning to do NFL until like the Super Bowl. And it was going to be like a small little beta teaser, right? It's gonna be like, hey, like it works, like proof of concept type of thing. But then you guys just had so much demand. Everyone in our DMs, like every American was like, this is a cool concept, but I don't know anything about soccer.
Yep.
And there's just so many of those messages that we were just like, all right, devs, like all of you are literally rock stars. Can you please, is this possible? And I think it was like a 6-week sprint.
It looks great. It's a ton of fun. Speaking of, Sam, prior to the show, said Trey McBride is somebody you had to start. There he is already in the first quarter, sitting in second place. AJ, we have a couple of things that we want to bring up and just sort of run you through as we've got you on. There's a couple of scores that just happened. Mac Hollins, if you don't know who he is, a truly ridiculous human being. He came into the game today.
Shirtless?
Yeah, shirtless, no shoes. Yeah. Just jeans and that's it. Walking into the stadium, here he is celebrating a first down against his former team, the Buffalo Bills, in the most ridiculous way possible. He's a weird human being. Here's Drake May trotting in for that second touchdown. So this will count. Cyber
too easy,
Storm,
man.
you guys got it. That was easy. Like we said, Sam, I feel and I felt coming into this game that you were going to see the Patriots get ahead early. You're going to see Josh Allen forced into a little bit of a hero ball situation, having to throw that ball. I still think that the Bills end up winning this game off of some bullshit that Allen pulls every single week, but this is exactly what we were expecting to see. This is the same highlight. Here's the same highlight again. They really love this. And here's A.D. Mitchell. Okay, so a little bit of personal trauma dumping here. A.D. Mitchell played for the Colts. I really liked Adonai Mitchell. I thought he was a great talent. I thought he had a lot going for him as a wide receiver. He wasn't the smartest guy on the field. He was making some issues, some plays. He famously, in week 6, dropped a ball on a 96-yard touchdown right before crossing through the end zone. It's then recovered by the team that we're playing. He then gets a holding call on a Jonathan Taylor 67-yard rush that effectively takes 2 touchdowns off the boards against the Rams. We lose by 1 score. He famously gets sent over to the New York Jets in the backs of that trade for Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks, and A.D. Mitchell. And since he's been there, it's been 3 weeks. A couple weeks ago, he had 118 yards. He now has a massive touchdown off the backs of that pass from Brady Cook. The other thing that is interesting is I believe he will be in place of Garrett Wilson, who is injured. So if I remember correctly, Garrett Wilson is not playing today. Oh, maybe he is playing. He's at 7.
No, it's John Mechie.
It's Mechie that sets up. There you go. So that's unfortunate for you guys if you were playing that game. John Mechie, wow, that guy has been bouncing around the league for the last few years. Unfortunate career, but there he is. Nico Collins still holding into that first spot. Brian Thomas Jr. jumps into second off the backs of that touchdown pass we saw earlier. Quick look at quarterbacks.
Wait, real
May.
quick. Let's go back to wide receiver because
Yep.
DJ Moore also just scored a touchdown, and so I'm curious where that puts him since he is a replacement.
Yeah, it was a late call, right? So usually we have it like preloaded with the
just
devs
because of the 8-minute
It'll-
breakdown there before kickoff.
Yeah, it'll be there. It's just maybe I think the devs haven't picked it up yet.
To be
I
fair,
think that would
he
put
was cleared to be active, right?
Yeah,
Right,
that was
exactly.
crazy. Super loud. I mean, I'm sure many fantasy owners in the playoffs in shambles right now over that one. But I think that would put him probably over where Drake London is at. I don't think he's over Igbuka unless he has a bunch of yards that I'm not aware of, but he's probably sitting in that top 5. Caleb Williams, I think, also having a decent day. Anyway, you can move on to the quarterbacks now.
Well, we were going right there. Caleb Williams is in 5th place behind Jalen Hurts and Pat Mahomes, Drake May. So these 4 guys have all played. Looks like Drake May, I mean, given the pace of what's been going on, is likely going to end up jumping Baker Mayfield here for first spot. Keep in mind, that's 2 rushing touchdowns for Drake May. So that's 12 points off the backs of just those touchdowns alone as rushing touchdowns. Quarterback passing touchdowns only count for 4. Rushing touchdowns across any talent counts for 6. That's why you see it jump up so high. And then you have a whole lot of nothing really going on at the quarterback position so far. Tight ends, as we just saw, McBride jumps into first place off the backs of that last catch. Again, you're going to see 1 point per catch. You're going to see 3 points for 100 receiving yards or 100 rushing yards, respective of your position. And then it is, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, it's 300 passing yards is the 3-point bonus for the QB threshold. So nobody even close to that at 145 so far, but we're getting
Something
there.
I think is interesting to note too, though, is Dallas Goedert. So he scored a touchdown already. And then the Eagles back in the red zone, they tried to target him again. They were like 2 yards out and they tried to give him a little quick slant on the 2-yard line, another easy touchdown. And it was just a little bit of an overthrow. And so the reason I mark that is just to say there's a chance that Dallas Goedert's targets end up getting more significant through the end of the year. And we've been so persistent with like the top 3 tight ends and basically nobody else that there's a chance we might want to start mixing him in because I'm not even starting him this week, to be honest.
Yeah, I like it. Listen, at the top of the hour, we said, hey, we like Tyler Warren, or I like Tyler Warren today because you got an old man at quarterback. He can't throw the ball further than 10 yards. There's a 20-year age difference, but a very similar situation in Philadelphia, right? You got a guy who can't throw the ball further than 10 yards. Dallas Goedert makes his money there. Feed him in the red zone. Feed Saquon Barkley. These are the sort of things that we want to see. Trevor Lawrence finds Bayshal Tutton, so not Travis Etienne, but
Damn
finds
it, man.
Bayshal Tutton for the 3rd touchdown of the game. AJ, you're going to be here. We're going to see you. We're going to go to the lines really quickly so you won't be on camp. Sam and I can hear you. You can continue chatting with us.
Cool.
We're going to look at the lines really quick. Okay, we saw this game has run away from Vegas. They're now 96% odds in favor of Philadelphia. You know, we talked about this earlier. You've now made, you know, a good 8.5%, 9% if you had taken the Jags at 85% prior to game to kick off. That game is basically done. New England really deeply has climbed away from the Bills on these odds. Sam, you mentioned earlier in the day, hey, why not take the Pats if you believe that they're going to get ahead early? I said because I didn't think it was going to move the line enough. Obviously, very wrong. 76% chance as it stands right now for New England to take that lead. And then we see Baltimore and Cincinnati back and forth. This chart has just been absurd. No score through the end of the first quarter. We're now into the second quarter in that game. And this is just back and forth over and over. We're going to look really quick at the Cards versus the Texans. That has just continued to run away from the Cardinals. There are a lot of games here today that already seem to be, look at these 4 games as it stands right now. You're talking 90+% for every team. Dub staring in the background because he knows he needs to get on these lines to run some of these underdogs and
I'm
trade
on
the
all of those
volatility here.
lines. I'm up on Cardinals right now.
We're going to bring it back. AJ, so before you came on, Dub sent in our prediction market chat, I'm going to write this right here. Buying Arizona at 6%. Where are they now, Dub?
7.
Yeah, with slippage. Yeah, you're cooking.
Drinks on Dub next time we're out.
And they said Jets could be lower, maybe down 7. The Jets are just continuing to spiral out of control here.
Yeah,
I have on my fantasy team, I also have Shador Sanders, who I was forced to start today.
Oh, no.
Although I was excited after last week, his
I-
35 points.
I think I may have some bad news for you.
Well, I saw he just got sacked.
Is he in today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
yeah,
it was.
I think I missed
Oh,
earlier.
You got to give
okay.
me a little credit.
Sam maybe gaslit me here a little bit. He said
Yeah,
Dylan
yeah.
Gabriel. I watched the clip. I'm like, oh, there's
Zero
Dylan Gabriel.
chance. No, that
Zero
guy
chance.
sucks.
Yeah, he does.
all
suck.
the
my
all the
God.
Browns quarterbacks just run together for me at this point. You know, it's a revolving door. We do have an insane interception in the Ravens and Bengals game. I think it's gonna stand. He literally catches it,
Oh,
drops it, and then catches it with his elbow.
Yeah, we're gonna bring this up right
It's
here.
insane. Hopefully we'll get that replay in just a sec. Steve in the comments says Patriots pass rush is playing out of their minds in the first half, which is why the Buffalo Bills are are being held to 0 points right now.
Here's
They had a
that.
3rd and 15 and ended up getting 40 yards, which is not what you want to see your team doing.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. So this gets deflected off the hands of the Bengals wide receiver, popped up, caught twice, dropped. Does look like another person has picked that ball up. We'll see if that stands.
Oh wait. No, this is the old one. This
is a
this
different
was
one.
yeah, this is the previous swing. So this is the Bengals getting an interception
Oh,
just moments ago.
Here's Bill Krosky Merritt, Jackery Krosky Merritt, JCM as some will call him. Fun little fact here. His name is Bill. His nickname is Bill. He goes by Bill because when he was a child, his friends said he looked like Little Bill, the cartoon character. If you don't know what Little Bill is, Google it. Google a picture of Jackery Krosky Merritt and tell me it's not entirely accurate. He said, I prefer to go by Bill. Don't call me JCM. I'm Little Bill. And there you go. Are you seeing this, Sam?
Little Bill was a good show.
This is wild, bro.
Grew up a little bit.
And we got, is this the pick here, Sam?
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah. So again, hopefully they give us a slow-mo replay. They show this back angle where
Yeah.
it's literally sitting in his stomach. It rolls down his arm and then he keeps it off the ground with his right elbow, which is insane. But I don't think it ever touches the ground in there,
That is pretty wild there.
which I assume is going to give us a massive swing again in that game. Yeah, we're back up to 50% chance for Cincinnati after going down to 37 again. That game is swinging like mad.
We said at the beginning of the show that we were likely going to see a lot of that today. AJ, So
I'm sorry, is this Little Bill like the Bill Cosby show?
it is. Yeah.
Okay, I would
That's how
not
it
be
goes.
like trotting around saying I want to be named after Bill Cosby. guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's a wild
you know what's
move.
funny? So earlier in the year, AJ, he was in an interview. They said, "Do we call you Jackery? People have been calling you JCM in fantasy circles." He goes, "No, I'm Little Bill. I want to be Little Bill." And weird
Woof.
choice to your point.
Yeah.
All right. So I want
This is
to
where I
bring
put
this
my
up
foot down.
as
I'm
somebody. Oh, here's a DJ Moore. Look at
They're
this.
trying to give him the out. They're like, "You sure? We got plenty of other great names."
No, we're
Yeah.
good. Trust me, we're good with Little Bill. I want to be Little Bill. This is
Picking up
DJ
short
Moore
and
on a
sweet.
1-yard touchdown pass from
Oh.
Caleb Williams. The Bears now up 14-0. Great ball.
Yeah.
You know, I said this early in the year. People go, Caleb doesn't look incredible when he's playing quarterback, but he does what he needs to do. When you're playing in a Johnson, in Ben Johnson's system, what he wants you to do is what you're supposed to do. He doesn't want you to freelance. He doesn't want you to, fire from the hip. He wants you to do what you need to do. Caleb Williams is somebody who's been doing an excellent job of doing what has been planned. AJ, as a AFC East fan, I gotta ask, how does it feel to be terrorized not only by the Patriots for 20 years, but the minute that Tom Brady leaves
Josh
that
Allen.
division, the rise of Josh Allen, and then the rise of the Patriots once again? That's got to be a tough place for a Dolphins fan.
Yeah. Thankfully, I don't care that much. I care about football, but I don't like the Dolphins. I just assume they're going to be terrible all the time. I have no hope.
I think that is fair,
Oh,
dude.
man.
As somebody, listen, prior to this year, actually, I still have no hope. Who am I kidding? Since Andrew Luck has retired in 2019, we have had so many starting quarterbacks that I can't even name them. Listen, my team in 3 hours, in 2.5 hours, is rolling out a guy who had been at home on the couch for 5 years. All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm with
super
you there.
exciting.
I'm with you there. I do not have hope for these teams. When you're a fan of bad teams, unfortunately, it just continues to spiral. I want to take a really quick look back at the standings here because we have had some movement here. Again, DJ Moore, if he's not already on this list, we just heard it from AJ, will likely be updated at some point. The reason for that delay, Roma Dunze literally was dressed active on the active roster 7 minutes before kickoff, comes out that he's not playing today. Looks like there hasn't been much movement on the quarterback side. We've seen a pretty big shift. 205 is around the corner, 12 minutes left. It looks like DeAndre Swift is still holding on to that spot by a fair margin. 9.3 points. The next closest active player, Saquon Barkley, at 5.5. If you guess DeAndre Swift, you're in position right now to win one of those packs a little later on in the day. Trey McBride running away with it from the tight end perspective. He is now sitting at 15.5 points, well above Dallas Goedert. Kelsey, Mark Andrews, and Brock Bowers combined, not even half the total number of points that Trey McBride. And then into the wide receiver spot, we saw it earlier, Nico Collins on one play. He is sitting at 12.7 points still, which means since that play, he has actually done nothing. It's been an hour. We haven't seen anything else from Nico Collins. Still good enough for first place.
He just caught a decent pass and he passed 1,000 yards on the season. He got like 20 more yards.
That is the quietest 1,000-yard season of all time. I didn't even realize he was that close.
Because he had what's their backup named? I forget. It's killing me. Yeah, Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
Throw into him. And I was just like, man, bench him every week. And then he kept popping up on the top 5 still. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What are we doing here?
Nico is just a dog. Looks like we have, oh no, the Chargers are not marching. They are deep in their own end zone, 3rd and 13. And oh my, Justin Herbert just took a shot. We'll bring that clip up in a second here. Chiefs have intercepted that. Looks like the Chiefs are actually in a position to be playing a little bit of spoiler themselves. We talked about how the Bengals, really now, their only hope for fun in the remainder of the season is, can we screw up the Ravens and the Steelers? They're going to do their best today to try and make that happen. The Chiefs basically are eliminated from the playoffs. It's not mathematically yet, but based on some of the head-to-head and what they have to go through, they're pretty much done. Which means we will now, for the first time since Pat Mahomes has been a full-time starter, not see Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. But not only that, we won't see him in the AFC Championship game, which he has made 7 consecutive times over the course of the last 7 seasons. So real shakeup in the AFC.
Insane.
our boy Justin Herbert playing with a broken hand. He looks like freaking Thanos with that Infinity Gauntlet, and he just got rocked. So he's in trouble. Looks like the Chiefs can score. Absolutely wild scenes.
Who would you guys rather have, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
I will tell you right now, the only correct answer is Justin Herbert.
AJ, do you agree?
Lawrence isn't looking so bad, to be honest. I mean, Herbert's probably still the correct pick, but what they're doing over there on a historically awful team is pretty impressive.
Yeah. You got to give him credit. And I have been a T-Law truther his entire career, and I believe that he has been in maybe the single worst quarterback like spot to be in for his entire career. He's now on his 4th head coach. He's in year 5, right? He's on his 6th different offensive coordinator. So you really haven't had much time for him to develop. You haven't had a whole lot of stability there. That said, I also think Justin Herbert, prior to bringing in Harbaugh, has been in an absolute blender of just terrible coaching staff. He's playing with a left tackle who was actually retired 2 weeks prior to them bringing him in. So they're down there. I believe they're now rolling out their 7th, 8th, and 9th linemen by depth chart. So this isn't your backup. It's not your backup's backup. It's not even that guy's backup. You're down to just guys. Us, the 4 of us, are protecting Justin Herbert at this time. So he's in a rough spot as well. I do think Herbert has a slight edge, but I'll give you that. Trevor Lawrence has looked great this year.
Sounds like New England got another touchdown. This one from Henderson. I'm assuming a rushing touchdown. I don't know. Our stream is they're still on the 50, but the comments are blowing up with
And
it.
there it is. Travion Henderson just rips off like a 65-yard touchdown, which surely puts him in first spot. Sorry, DeAndre Swift truthers, but Travion Henderson now 15.5 points. Man, John Robinson just had one hell of a game on Thursday, still holding on to that spot by double.
Damn.
Crazy. Did you see?
Yeah, about a strong amount of him.
Did you watch the end of that game?
I think I did.
Man, Mike Evans running into the locker room after just going 3rd and 28. They had them deep. 3rd and 28. It was like a 15-yard dump off. They convert on 4th and 14. They kick the field goal to win it. Those guys, there were some crazy interviews out of the Bucs locker room after that game. I'll tell you that. Those guys were not very happy.
Although I started Mike Evans on my fantasy team. So.
Oh yeah, listen, Mike Evans is back. You know Baker's gonna feed him. I think he had 10 catches for 133 yards.
He had 19 something points, so I was happy.
Insane day from the man. All right, what do we got?
We got Peyton bull posting about Oklahoma City Thunder to nobody's surprise.
Hey, listen, Peyton, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The only reason why that team is good is because you've got a Canadian superstar, baby. SGA.
That's insane.
We've got the Bears on the 8-yard line. It looks like they're in a position to score here. Wow. Direct snap to Cole Kmet gets blown up.
Not a good idea.
Yeah. Terrible move there.
First play that made the Browns look good all day.
What do we got? We got Pat Mahomes now on the 20. Has all week to throw the ball into the dirt.
Jesus, man.
Oh, he looks hurt too.
Crazy. I can't believe we're seeing the Chiefs suck. My brain doesn't know how to comprehend it right now.
My brain's saying buy Chargers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Hey, you know what? It's fun I think this is part of the reason why they want to see more parity in football is because for the first time in a long time, the AFC is in a blender. Normally, you're looking at the Ravens, you're looking at the Bills, the Chiefs, occasionally the Bengals, depending on whether or not Joe Burrow has been healthy. That's basically what our last decade has looked like in the AFC. Now, for the first time in a long time, you see a second-year quarterback in Drake May currently giving it to the Bills, 21-0. You see Bo Nix and the Broncos at 10-2. You saw the Colts roll out 15 different quarterbacks, legs exploding. They looked good for a little while. It's wild how much has happened in the AFC. Huge play on the side of the Ravens. That may have been an interception. Who is that?
It's a Lamar Jackson throwing touchdown to Ali. I don't even know his first name, to be honest.
That's why I assumed it was a defensive player.
Yeah.
Never seen this man in my life.
Peyton says Taylor Swift was peak and it's been all downhill from there for the Chiefs.
That is true.
That team is
I
old,
do-
man. That Chiefs team is old. Their best players are Travis Kelsey, I think now is 36 or 37. You've got Chris Jones, who is on the wrong side of 30. You've lost your best lineman. He's now in Chicago lighting it up for the Bears and Joe Thuney. You've got nobody to protect Pat. All of your salary cap is tied up in a bunch of older guys who are not performing. That team might be in trouble for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I thought for sure they were going to trade for Tyreek Hill at somewhere between like week 3 and week 5. I was like, it just makes so much sense. I'm sure they both want it. Like Dolphins look terrible. They'll take the pick, whatever. Are you surprised, AJ, that didn't happen? It felt like he was going to.
Oh, I thought he was gone for sure. Yeah, he was complaining
Yeah.
after last year. I mean,
Yeah.
The craziest thing
he
that they
should
did,
have. Yeah, I take the pick.
dude, they didn't take Brees Hall for a 3rd-round pick. And look at the biggest problem that the Chiefs have right now is the run game. You're running the ghost of Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, who's broken. Again, it doesn't surprise me. I said this a couple of weeks ago. You guys seem to love this joke. I'm surprised nobody's heard it. Isaiah Pacheco, a man who looks like he runs like he hates the ground, broke both shin bones over the course of the last 2 years to the surprise of literally nobody. If you've seen the way he runs, the amount of force on that guy's shins, insane. So you got a running back who can't run without breaking his legs. You've got Kareem Hunt, who hasn't been good since 2017, and you have an option to get Brees Hall, one of the young stars in the league, for nothing in a time where the Jets are obviously in fire sale mode. They move Sauce Gardner out of the way. They move Quinnen Williams out of there. They're taking in information. All they wanted for Brees Hall was a 3rd-round pick. It is wild to me that we didn't see them go for that.
And that just speaks to like how crazily bad like GMs are in sports, all sports. And like that's why fantasy exists, because it's like we'll take it from here.
Yeah,
like you guys
let us
are
go. Let us
useless.
roll with it.
Yeah.
That's such a great point, man. Yeah, some of the trades that we've seen that people have accepted are absolutely egregious. People giving up 4 or 5 first-round picks plus some actual players that have already been drafted for stars. I mean, shout out to the Deshaun Watson trade, what I believe is maybe the single worst trade in sports history. And I watched very closely whenever the Brooklyn Nets mortgaged the next decade just so that they could get the ghost of the Celtics that were good once upon a time. And it's just insane what people will do because there's so much pressure on them, right, to act quickly. But then the flip side is, to your point, they won't even give a third for one of the best running backs in the league, or to get Tyreek Hill back. That would have, I mean, if they're 6 and 7 right now, I think if they have Tyreek Hill on the team by week 5, they're probably at least 7 and 6, maybe 8 and 5,
They're
and
definitely
that's
not 6 and 7.
completely different story, and it's just hard to believe.
On the flip side,
I think this is like a human psychological thing that permeates everything. It permeates stock markets, permeates sports, where nobody wants to buy low.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as something's down in price, they're like, oh, wait, hang on a second, this must be bad then. Right. Versus, oh, it's super expensive. Yeah, let me pile in.
well, this is what
Let me
we were
get in
saying,
on
right?
that.
A lot of us, we come from the crypto background. I was talking to a guy last
Yeah.
night. I said, hey, if you liked Bitcoin at 105, you're going to love it at 85. And I think when you look at teams, they don't have the same mentality. And it's part of the reason why you see guys like Howie Roseman and the Eagles year after year continue to draft incredibly well. Most of the time, they're drafting maybe some, head case players who have fallen in the draft for one reason or another, but they're doing an excellent job of bringing in a consistent stream of talent. You're seeing them completely rebuild that secondary over the course of the last 2 drafts in Quinshawn Williams, I believe his name is, and a number of other players that they've brought in. You saw Jalen Carter get picked. You see Joe Biden on the screen right now on the sideline of the Eagles game, watching this game.
And Mike Trout.
And Mike Trout.
Doesn't he play for some completely different city?
Yes. It is crazy to see the discrepancy, though, right? You have teams who consistently draft well and consistently manage their assets. And then you have teams like the Jets, who I am 30 years old. And the only time the Jets have ever been good is when they knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. Oh my God, listen, realistically,
A fumble?
Yeah, I was gonna say this guy's entire career is summed up into 2 points. He got stabbed in Indianapolis because he picked a fight 3 weeks ago, and he fumbled off of some guy's ass. Right? That's Mark Sanchez legacy.
Yeah. But he did get an AFC championship game, which was the best that the Jets had been since Joe Namath.
Yeah, and they had to beat the Colts to get there, which is just disgusting. I'm disgusted with the Jets for doing that to my boys.
The Bills are finally sneaking their way into the red zone. The Eagles also on the cusp, so we could see a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. I think though I don't even know if that one's active anymore. We're gonna have to pick something for people to do as the second half approaches us
It
for
is.
some predictions.
As we say, AJ, we'll let you go in a second here. I want to run through the lines one more time. We appreciate you spending some time with us and shooting the shit
man.
and talking some sports. One really quick look at the FDF leaderboard as it stands. Drake May still in first place. The rest of that top 5 or top 3 rather gets rounded up by Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, Pat Mahomes on Hurts' ankles here. Only 1.5, 2 points separating those 3 guys. You look at the running back position, Travion Henderson at 15.5 points. It is 2:06 p.m. Travion Henderson is your winner. If nobody has guessed, Travion Henderson will move downstream and take DeAndre Swift, who is sitting at 3rd spot. But one single prediction of Henderson. Swift owners, I'm sorry, you're out of the running there. The rest of that top 5 gets rounded out by Bucky Irving still holding on just barely, Saquon Barkley, Chase Brown, and James Cook knocking on the door. We'll see if they can get into some action in the second half. Cook is in a dangerous spot, down 21-0. If the Bills don't score here, you got to figure you see a lot less of James Cook in that second half as they go to pass-only mode. In tight end, it's Trey McBride's day. He's at 15.7 points. Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce round out that top 3. And then there's really a whole lot of nothing going on at the tight end position, much like last week. You've got 1.5 points from Mark Andrews, just under a point from Brock Bowers, 0 points from Gadsden and Henry, both active, both playing, both games approaching halftime to round it out.
I think Kittle takes it this weekend.
You think Kittle takes it? There's the
I
prediction.
went pretty heavy.
I love
it.
Kittle should hopefully, especially now with the concern around Christian McCaffrey, right? There might be some more short intermediate passes available to Kittle. In the wide receiver spot, Nico Collins still has not done anything after that touchdown pass in an hour, which is hilarious because he is still holding on to the first spot. Remember, that was a 12.7 point play. He is sitting at 12.7 points. Not a whole lot of action in that line. BTJ, Drake, and I guess Jamar Chase sort of round up. Jamar Chase was my must start. Igbuka and London, who both played on Thursday night, still holding into the top 5. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong. Darnell Mooney is the next man up for Drake London. Is that correct? Do you know off the top of your head?
Let me look. I'll check real quick.
We got Peyton saying, you all talking about franchises that routinely draft well and make great decisions. Sounds like something that rhymes with Mothla Hama Nitty Hunder.
Oh my god, dude.
God damn it, dude.
Oh,
if I didn't know that Peyton
Yes, Mooney is
it was
correct.
Darnell Mooney. Okay, so that
It's going to be in the UI very soon. I see it getting tested internally. So
beautiful. So that's 6.5 points you see from Drake London came off the backs of Darnell Mooney stepping up as Drake London was out. And then you saw that we talked about at the top of the hour, that heroic game from Kyle Pitts, not available on FDF, not available in most fantasy leagues, riding the pine in a lot of leagues. But if you were smart enough or crazy enough to start Kyle Pitts on Thursday night, you probably won your first playoff matchup. 40.
Oh yeah, definitely. Are the Eagles playing right now? Why does AJ Brown have 0 points?
Well, it's mostly because his quarterback doesn't throw, right? And can't throw. So
why did I buy so much of him?
I think Devontae Smith caught a couple of decent balls, but yeah, I mean, mostly they're just the QB rushes, Saquon Barkley getting a little bit of work in. Also, your boy, Shador Sanders, 42-yard bomb right down the middle of the field.
Oh, did he? Thank
God. Not a
God.
touchdown, but at least picking up some yards there. See if they can get some work in before the end of the half. I think it's at break right now. The Bills now on the 5-yard line, 2nd and goal. Feels like they have to walk away with a touchdown here.
And there's James.
Yeah, James Cook.
Oh, Josh Allen took
receiving touchdown, baby.
Absolutely bailed out the Cooks starters.
And this is big too, right? It's better than a rushing touchdown for a running back because you get that additional point off of the receiving yardage here.
Yeah, this is the number one reason I love this game is I can buy a lot of shares of Josh Allen and Cook. And as a Dolphins fan, it balances my world.
Hey man, you're hedging your own emotions, right? Oh
Totally.
Shit, the Dolphins are down 35-0, but the good news is Josh Allen has thrown for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards.
And I got 10,000 TPs, so like I'm good.
It is counterintuitive. It definitely, at first, if you haven't experienced it, it doesn't seem like the way that it would work. It would stand to reason that like I would never own a Patriots player as a Steelers fan. I hate them so much, but I do find myself being like, oh, cool, like Drake May is doing good, yay! Like, and I do own the most Drake May out of any other player, I think, on my roster. So it just is what it is. But it's fun to be able to appreciate the entire league versus just being like, Steelers don't play till Monday night this week, so what am I doing? Watching, I guess the other divisional games, and then just kind of shrugging.
Right. And like the big thing for me compared to like I'm mentioning my fantasy league and it's a dynasty league we've been in for like over 10 years and it's fun, but like I basically only know the guys on my team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like hearing other people talk about other players. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know. I haven't followed him because he's not on my team. But here now I do. Since we launched NFL, like I've appreciated NFL so much more.
You know what,
Yeah.
man?
Because you can just
Fantasy's the best
you
way.
need to own who's at the top of the leaderboard, right? So like
Right.
if you don't know everyone, like you're not going to win.
The one thing that I have found, and we're going to go to break right after this, but I'll tell you this. The one thing that I have found playing FDF versus a traditional fantasy experience, in fantasy, it feels good for me to beat my friend, right? I want to win on a week-to-week basis. I don't think that feeling will ever go away. But the trick with FTF and what has made it so interesting is every single player, not just the players that I'm not picking one guy to start. I'm picking a handful of guys. I'm betting the field, and I'm watching every single player because even if I'm not starting a player and they have a big play, that's a negative experience for me. It's something that I got to watch. So I find myself tracking a lot more games over the course of now we're sitting here watching all games at the 1 o'clock slot, but I find myself watching a lot more storylines because now I don't care about just the players that I've started. I care about literally everybody else in the league because it might negatively affect my guys.
Right. Here's actually, interestingly, a line I'm going to give you is one that we heard from a lot of VCs that we talked to when we were doing that. And they said, oh, this is an evergreen prediction market for individual athletes. And in a way, it is. If you look at their price, that's sort of what it is.
Yeah.
That's one angle of it. And then you have a game, of course, attached to it. So, they may trade based on news, transfers, anything else that affects them off the field. So you can see price move because of that. But then, of course, a lot of it is centered around the game. And I think that's kind of cool, right? Like, what is the long-term expected sort of cash flows of this guy from fantasy?
I love it. And it's going to be fun to watch this play out because football has such a long off season. I think you're going to see this really interesting dynamic between off season price movement and what ends up happening when that season begins. I'm personally hoping a certain number of players maybe lose a little bit of value in the offseason so I can build up that position for season 2. That's what I'm hoping for. And especially, I'll tell you this, given the trajectory of Jefferson's season over the course of this year, I expect him to turn into dust in the offseason, and I will scoop all that dust up.
And you'll have a million shares.
Exactly, man. He is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's just got literally honestly, the best performance of JJ McCarthy's entire career thus far was off the backs of a double concussion, and I'm pretty sure he was still concussed, right? So we need a quarterback there.
Yeah. The offseason will be very interesting this first time, but like think about when we actually start onboarding people, which we will be able to do. A lot of it will be because of you guys, because this show is amazing and you're kind of showing it to them. This is like my favorite thing to do on Sunday. So I'm just like, when is Amplified on? Have my leftover pizza, watch you guys. But yes, we have a few thousand people playing NFL right now. Like imagine, we all know a few thousand people who would do this.
Yep.
Imagine when we're at 100,000 users and 1 million, like off season is going to be crazy. There's going to be so many people with ideas like Gnoc has, right? Yeah. And then especially once we have the scouting market on, where it's like this whole other universe of every athlete that you can go and trade that aren't eligible to play the game yet. Like it's just going to be beautiful mayhem.
I love it, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens whenever we have like Reddit off season, whenever you just get like 6 trades in the same day and it's just absolute madness. You're like, oh, this quarterback's going to be throwing to him now, shoots up, or oh, he's traded to the Jets, like shoots down.
You're also going to see a price action on off-season injuries and trade reports, and hey, a head coach has changed. What's going to happen there? So I think there's a lot of game theory, even against like who's next man up for a particular player. It'll be a lot of fun to watch this play out. AJ,
are you a college football fan, Knox? Sorry, then I will let you guys go.
It is a ton of fan. Yes, I am a college football fan. Unfortunately, I'm a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. Unfortunately, we will not be in the playoffs this year. I think it's bullshit. Notre Dame thinks it's bullshit. I want to see those boys get back in. And listen, the Indiana pipeline is really strong, right? We got Riley Leonard as their third string quarterback on the Colts. He literally just drove down the I-90 into Indianapolis to play after he was finished his career at Notre Dame. Weirdest team. I'll give one quick piece of lore. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are one of only 2 teams in NCAA football that are not part of a conference. They make their own schedule on a yearly basis. It is the only team that is able to make their own schedule, and they're also one of the powerhouses. I think they have the second most national titles of any program. So it feels good to see that team doing well, although I'm feeling like both of my teams will be missing the playoffs this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. So imagine, the scouting market will have college athletes on there, which I think is super sick. So like you could be watching the college season, this guy's going to go in the draft next year, and you're trading him because he's having a crazy game in the, let's say, the playoffs or something.
Beautiful.
Right. And then you have the combine. Oh, dude.
That's going to be insane, dude. I didn't even
think about fantasy. Like, of all NFL fantasy products, nobody has ever allowed you to trade these moments or be a part of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to be so cool. Is you're just like trading the entire life cycle of athletes.
Even the draft.
Yeah.
The draft will be an incredible moment, right? Because, this player went here, that player went there. Tyler Warren coming out of the draft this year, going to Indianapolis Colts right out of the gate. People thought this was a great fit, somebody that we want to latch onto. So you're going to see that moment.
Think about Sanders Price during the draft. What would have happened? Oh my God.
I love
AJ, between the ICO news, we got NBA coming up. We're talking about collegiate athletes. Any alpha about any of these things, or something completely different you might be able to sneak in? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but you got my brain racing over here.
I feel like that was pretty good alpha.
Pretty good alpha.
I mean, just generally, look, we'll have like a lot more specifics next week, but I think generally we genuinely want to build this to compete with FanDuel and DraftKings. Like I know people use it. It's a huge industry. I think it's actually very toxic for people. I think it's not good for the average consumer. It's like giving them 100x leverage on meme coins. It just makes no sense. Look, the official stats from there, like DraftKings is a publicly traded company, so all the numbers are out there, and I've dug through it. I think it's the average consumer loses 55% of the money they put in, and 92% of all users lose some amount of money. It's just like, this is not sustainable. All rewards go to like 0.01% of the users, which are just hedge funds. Genuinely, hedge funds actually do 50% of the volume on there. Like I know
insane.
them. You think you're trading against your friends. You are trading against, I know who the hedge funds are. They're sitting in Ireland and they have like 100 data scientists just outperforming you.
Wow.
Yeah, they're putting 56 different variations of the same roster into every DFS style.
And they're hedging it on the different sites, and they're hedging it with Polymarket. Wow. Yeah, it's like wild. They can't lose. Anyways, I think we're building something that's just like, it's right. It's a better intersection. It's not free, right? Because like then you don't care as much. And it's not this like 0-day options, 100x leverage type thing that DraftKings is. It's somewhere in the middle where like there's money involved, but like if you buy Mahomes and he doesn't crush it tonight, you still own those shares. He's going to play next week and the year after that. And like, it's just I think a healthier medium to long-term take on like financializing your fandom.
As Peyton in the comments says the real Fighting Irish. That's wild.
We saw Rashee Rice jump into 4th place as we're chatting here. AJ, we're going to go to break. It has been an absolute blast having you on. Thank you so much for joining us, sharing some of that incredible alpha. My wheels are spinning internally as well. I'm sure that Sam and I are going to have a chat about that after the show. When we get back from break, Sam and I are going to do a really, really quick AFC power ranking. I'm going to put him on the spot. He's got to tell me who the top teams in the AFC are. And then AJ, I have one request for you while you're offline. If you can tell us the most anybody has won from a TP perspective off of a single player. We had Dan on last week where Dan had 40K TP off of DeAndre Swift. If you can send me that on Telegram, I'm going to bring it up during the show. I want to know what that number is because that has got me excited. The way that Dan played it, I'm sure some absolute freak has earned 100 plus KTP.
Somebody 700,000 shares of Rico Dowdle in like week 12, you know.
That was fun. I liked when you had Dan on last week. I love like British people who are into NFL. I think it's like It's like British people when they meet Americans who know everything about soccer. They're like, "Oh shit, like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
like, look at
this?"
this guy. Holy shit. And yeah, he's very, very knowledgeable. We will not
Yeah,
be gone
he
for
might
long.
be the biggest, but I will get that for you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. We won't be gone for long, Sam. We'll take like a 3 to 5 minute break. We'll power rankings. We have our friend Max Kaufman joining us around 2:45 as well. So plus
We are back as I lag into oblivion. Gnoc, am I coming through all right? is your mic messed up or are my speakers messed up? Which one are we dealing with? Okay, it's not. All right. I have to eat some crow here. The game that I said nobody cared about, Washington and New York Giants. I mean, nobody cares about it, but it does look like one of the most entertaining games of the day. Jacksonville and New York Jets doesn't seem like it's worth watching. The Ravens now blowing out the Cincinnati Bengals, the Patriots blowing out the Buffalo Bills. It's just a bunch of absolutely disgusting games right now. I gotta own up too. My bets are looking terrible today.
Yeah,
we got,
catch us up there.
we got the yes on Cleveland. Cleveland is getting absolutely wrecked. We got the yes on Cincinnati, who was holding it 0-0 for the longest time, went up above 50% a couple of times, but I was greedy and I wasn't willing to take that. Now all the way down to 13% odds of winning that game. We have Arizona and Houston. I took the no on over 42.5 points. So I'm saying under, and it's now at 11% chance, primarily because of a bunch of turnovers in the red zone. Shout out to the Arizona Cardinals for that. They're trying to drive and get yet another score before the half. And they might have a chance. They're at about the 50. The one that I'm up on is actually shockingly, yes, on over 54.5 points between Buffalo and New England, because I think they're sitting at 28. So
Just before half.
if you do some quick math, yeah, just barely on the over. And that was a little bit of a leverage, or not leveraged bet, but a little bit of an outsized reward if I win that. So I'd probably break even if that comes to fruition, but it's ugly. It's ugly when your boy's Kalshi today.
I'll tell you what. Let's take a really quick line. Let's just touch base on those lines. We're gonna go through a couple of highlights because there was a few plays. We got 20, let's call it 15 minutes before our buddy Max joins us. So let's get through some of this stuff quick. Sam mentioned here, wow, this is an ugly set of charts here. 99% Eagles. That means Dub is currently buying right behind Sam. You see his head using the process of slamming the Raiders at 2%. You've got 4% for the Browns. You've got 4% for the Jets. You got 4% for the Cardinals. A series of just brutal games. You see the Baltimore Ravens now jump up. That game is just now at halftime, so still time for that to come back. 14 points when you're playing against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown is not a safe lead. I don't care what anybody tells you. We're looking at that Pats game. You got 86% chance here on Buffalo. I really fucked up by not doing what you said, which was, hey, if you believe the Pats are going to get out ahead, why not take a position in them? It's because I felt like it wasn't going to get this wide. This is crazy. This is starting to look like the opening line of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Jets game. And this is the Buffalo Bills that we're talking about, down, 3 scores now at this point in time. We look to the bottom left, you're going to see Chiefs and Chargers, or top left rather. That game is starting to separate. This is only a 10-point game going into half. I feel like this is kind of crazy. Probably shouldn't be this separate. I'm not loving that line there. And then we'll look right here in your bottom left. You're going to see the Commanders-Giants game, Sam's top game. I got to say, every one of these games looks gross, dude. The lines now at halftime are very much in favor. There isn't a single line of even in the 60-40 range, right? Everything is 80 plus at this point in time, which I don't think we've seen that so far this NFL season. We definitely haven't seen it so far on an episode of Amplified.
This is a fun opportunity, though, for some predictions. What do we think is the game that is going to have, let's say, the biggest swing, maybe? Or what's the game that's going to be the closest to 50-50 at the top of the hour, 30 minutes from now, something like that?
Raiders. Hear me out.
Bold pick.
Let's do that. If you're watching right now, give us your prediction on which of these games gets closest. So we're seeing them now. Everything's between an 80 and 60. We'll say this: which of these games gets into the 60-40 range? Somewhere within that range, you will win a pack at the top of the hour. If you're watching on YouTube, we're using that as our source of truth today for comments. If you want to be safe, because we've had it in the past where the channel doesn't auto log the chat. If you want to be safe, go to my Twitter account, ITSGNOC, comment on this week's episode of Amplified. Give me which team you think brings the market closer to 60-40 by 3 o'clock Eastern time. That'll be our second prediction challenge of the day here. Sam, there's a few clips. We've got some time. I want to run you through some of the scoring plays, some of the things that have happened while we were on break. And then we're going to get back to this and we're going to get your your power ranking of the AFC, which it will be a lot of fun to throw you on the spot here. Okay, really quick. Tyron Tracy scores a touchdown. Neither Tyron Tracy or Cam Scadaboo are relevant for FDF, but great forced tackle, or broke a tackle and missed one there. We see forward progress on the... This is an interesting call. The refs say that this is loss of forward progress. So there's a rule in the NFL where if you're piled up by a bunch of different people, they will blow the play dead so that you don't get hurt. They called this loss of forward progress. To me, that very much looks like Shedeur Sanders is on his way to try and move forward here. This is that play that we just saw of Josh Allen passing that ball to James Cook. Here's Mac Hollins, the absolute nut job that walked in just a pair of jeans. No shoes, no shirt. Apparently, plenty of service, though. Climbs the ladder. Big play downfield. Saquon Barkley scores a touchdown. This is relevant for FDF. This will have jumped. This should put him in second place. We'll check on those scores in a second. And then there was another... This was that big run from Travion Henderson that we saw earlier today that put him into first place, that ultimately gave you guys who guessed him correct the standing there. So we're going to open up FDF really quickly. Just take a quick look at where standings are. So remember, a lot of this has changed since we took the break. Drake May has now jumped into first place, surpassing Baker Mayfield, which we were expecting to see that happen. Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams, Pat Mahomes rounds up the top 5 there. In the running back side, Travion Henderson still holding on to that second place. Bijan Robinson likely out of reach for any of these guys. Maybe Travion if that Bills game continues to go the way that it's been going and gets out of hand here. You see James Cook has climbed in. Saquon Barkley off the backs of that touchdown is now in third place. And then DeAndre Swift, one of Sam's must players, still holding on to that 5th spot. Tight end, it's over. Trey McBride scored another touchdown, 19.9 points. It's very likely that he ends the day in first. We saw AJ say George Kittle was the man for him. We'll see if he can score 20 points. I don't know. I think that might be a little crazy. And then in the wide receiver spot, Zay Flowers has jumped Nico Collins, who, mind you, has still not done anything since that opening drive touchdown. 12.7 points, holding firm there. Sam has sent me a number of things. Chargers Chiefs. So we got Chris on YouTube saying the Chargers Chiefs game will be the one that closes the gap the most. We've got Keo saying Baltimore and Cincinnati will be the one that closes the most. Remember, you have 30 minutes until this challenge is complete. So if you're watching, give us your prediction. Which game gets the closest on Kalshi? Which of those lines move closest to 50-50 by 305? What we got?
It's only fair. What's your prediction? Who's getting the closest? Which one of these games is still in striking distance?
I actually don't think it's the Chargers game. My logic here is the Bills, and I'll tell you why.
I hate you.
I think the Bills not only have a ton of fanfare behind them, but a lot of big money bettors love Josh Allen. And I think with one more score after that halftime break, you're going to see that line jump a lot more than it probably should jump off the backs of anything that is based in logic. But because Josh Allen is involved, I think you're going to see a lot of money move towards all the momentum's on Josh Allen's side. You're going to see this happen. So for me, that game should be Bills-Patriots. I think that gets way closer to 50-50. I'm kind of surprised it's as big as it is now.
We just saw the Arizona Cardinals block a Houston Texans 52-yard field goal as well, which for my under bet feels amazing because I've been getting wrecked pretty much the entire time. I'm seeing a bunch of Baltimore and Cincinnati picks, a couple people saying Chargers and Chiefs, including Peyton, founder of the Wolves DAO, by the way.
You've learned a new word outside of thunder.
Peyton also says, did Utah get internet? Sam looks clear. Yes, I finally got the internet that I've been paying for over a month and a half. Finally works now, and it's actually quite good. And I canceled Google Fiber this morning. Shout out. Absolutely sucks. I can't wait.
Sam, we've got a quick note from Gasboat saying he doesn't see the YouTube stuff other than just adding it. So maybe keep comment. As long as you can see it, I think we're good. but just as a quick heads up. Okay, we've got 8 or so minutes before Max joins us. Sam, I'm going to run you through the gauntlet here. I need you to tell me, this is the current AFC picture, okay? We're going to walk through really quickly. This right here, everything that you see on screen, realistically, anybody below the Chargers, you're not putting the Chiefs anywhere in this top 5. This is what you've got. You've got the Patriots in first in the AFC East, the Bills in second. You've got the Steelers at the top of the North with the Ravens in second. You've got the Jags at the top of the South with the Texans in second. And then you've got Broncos Chargers right now to round out the AFC West.
Bro, you said Texans in second, like the Colts aren't tied with them.
We lost.
You know,
Listen,
keep your boys in there.
We got
Keep
an
your boys
old
some
man at
love.
quarterback. All right. And we have no tiebreakers, and we're going to lose both to the Texans and both to the Jags. The Colts are dead. Now we're just watching it for the entertainment. That's what's happening here. All right. Here's what I need from you. 1, I need you to rank me the divisional leaders right now. So that would be the Patriots, the Steelers, the Jags, and the Broncos. How are you stack ranking the divisional leaders in the AFC?
I mean, I've been thinking there's a chance it's fool's gold all year, but I mean, seeing what they're doing today and just the consistency with which the Patriots are able to put up 30 and 40 points a game and with a relatively strong defense too, I just don't see a world in which you're not putting them first. The only real comp would be the Broncos because they have the same record. The Broncos arguably have a better defense, but I think they have a way, way lesser offense. And that worries me. So for me, Patriots definitely the number 1 seed, not just in literal standings, but also as far as my prediction to perform the best. I go down the list and I see a lot of potential, but I have very little faith in any of these teams, including the Steelers, including the Bills, including the Texans, including the Chargers. Like, how do you look at any of those and go like, oh yeah, those guys are making it to the Super Bowl? You know? Like,
yeah, I agree. I'll say this. 1, the Broncos have a brutal schedule. They are running through the Packers tonight or today at 4:25 Eastern, the Jags next weekend, the Chiefs the weekend after that, and the Chargers in week 18. They have a gauntlet to get through. On the other side, the Pats have to get through the Bills today, which they seem to be dog walking. And
well,
then we'll
Bill
have
just scored a touchdown for what it's worth, but
so maybe
otherwise
Knoc's right on that prediction there, and we're gonna see that line come a little closer. I'll give you one here, okay, Sam? This is what I'm saying. I think clear front runner, the only team in the AFC that I think is actually as good as advertised. New England Patriots is the 1 seed for sure on that power ranking, no doubt about it. I'm actually gonna go maybe a little contrarian here, and I'm gonna say I think the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans are both better teams than the Denver Broncos at the top of the AFC West. I would, in order, go New England Patriots, Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos as the top 5 in the AFC. That's my list. I believe the AFC South teams are too good defensively. They're scary teams. You got the number 1 D in the Texans. You got the Jags, which are the number 1 rush D. You're seeing Trevor Lawrence deal today. Sure, he's playing the Jets, but this, to your point, exactly what you want to see. You should be able to put these types of games away. They're taking care of business. Liam Cohen is a coach of the year. I think the Jags look really, really good this season. Patriots, Jags, or Patriots, Texans, Bills, Jags, Denver Broncos in that order. That is the top 5 in the AFC. As of this moment, halftime, week 15, I don't have a doubt in my mind that that is the standings. I do not believe in the AFC North. I'm sorry. I think listen, somebody from the North has to make the playoffs, and that's the only reason why somebody from the North is going to be in the playoffs, right? It has to happen that way. That's just the way that the NFL system is set up. Because listen, realistically, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals, at best, are your like 7, 8, 9 seeds in the AFC as it stands right now. I don't think that they're that strong. The LA Chargers, I think, are a team who could be good. I just don't think a quarterback with a broken hand and 5 guys that you called off the street to play linemen is a recipe for success in the playoffs. And I just can't in good conscience see them any higher than 6th or 7th.
As somebody who took a lot of pride for a lot of years in the fact that the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals were all really, really good. I mean, the Bengals are more recent that they were really good, but the Steelers and Ravens have consistently been great. And then there was a year where all 4 of our teams had a chance at making the playoffs.
Yep.
Like all 4 of them had winning records. It was absolutely insane. Baker Mayfield on the Browns. And now to see how far we've fallen the division, it hurts my ego, man. It really hurts my ego.
But yeah, so Phil, if you're watching this, I need you to clip that for me so that in 2 weeks' time, Sam can tell me I'm an idiot and there's no world in which the Houston Texans are the number 2 seed by power rankings in the AFC. But I believe it. I believe it. I don't think any team in the AFC, not named the New England Patriots, can beat the Texans when they're playing their game. There's too many ways for that team to hurt you defensively, and all CJ Stroud needs to do is just not suck. As long as he doesn't suck, they win. Full stop. They're a good team. We're going to have Max come on in a second here. When Max does join, we're going to do a little bit of a playoff challenge. We're going to do a quick recap of what's been going on from a scoring perspective. We'll watch a little bit of football, but I want to walk through the playoff machine, Sam. I introduced this last week. Week 14 is the first time that the playoff machine is available for you to kind of fuck around with and find out who's going to make the playoff, who's not. We're going to work through our playoff scenario for the Colts and the Steelers while Max laughs at us. Max is a Detroit Lions fan. We had a chat earlier today. His team also currently not in a playoff spot, the Detroit Lions, which is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
I said to Doug Hype earlier today, Doug, if you're watching this, I meant it. Doug thinks that the Green Bay Packers have the 3rd best chance to win the Super Bowl as per Vegas odds. I think the Green Bay Packers are the 3rd best team in their division. I don't think that they have a shot at winning the Super Bowl this year, and I think you're going to see the Lions get hot here at the end of the year and kind of run things up a little bit.
I stole a page from your book, Gnoc. I said I would eat a picture of Christian Watson if the Packers end up winning the Super Bowl this year. I think they are absolutely fraudulent. Doug replied, "Better find a gluten-free printer."
I'll say this, Max, we see you backstage. We'll bring you up in a second here. I'll tell you this. You're going to have to find Christian Watson before you can eat a picture of him. Christian Watson hasn't played a fucking game of football in the last 18 months. A lot of talent, no ability to stay on the field. And as my raging alcoholic Pee-wee football coach said, the best ability is availability, and Christian Watson doesn't have it. So I don't know that that'll be the case for you, Sam. I think you're okay. We're going to bring our friend Max up.
Back there, man.
What'd you say?
I don't know how I feel about that.
All
I
right.
was trying to stay out of that one. You brought me in. Also, how about them Chargers? Holy.
Are they coming back? You up, Bigly?
We should, in a second here, get Max.
Jalen Hurts, 144 yards and a touchdown. He's putting something together. It looks like he might get some decent fantasy points. Is that Big Max Kaufman?
No way.
Sure. You guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear, buddy.
Sounding good, brother.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thank you for having me on. And good to see Dub in the background there. What's up, man?
Yeah, the kid.
Dub is going to come on.
Good to
He's
see
our
you, Max.
witching hour. We think Dub and his betting behavior perfectly personifies what the witching hour is. Just batshit craziness happening on stream. So we always bring him on. Today he decided, what if I came on a little bit earlier and I just made some comments from the background? And honestly, Dub, you might have to sit there, get a nice comfy chair and be there for the remaining 4 or 5 weeks of the NFL season, because it's been a lot of fun.
Not good enough to be a guest, but I can be a parent.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you're a permanent fixture. If you think about it, it's an upgrade on a guest. All right, you're always there. Max,
Way more screen time.
I like how this was all your 2 idea, and you're pitching it like it's my own. I'm cool with that. Yeah, I was smart. Line me up.
So, for what it's worth, Max, we're going to go through something now that we've got you on. We talked a little bit earlier about how you're a Lions fan. We've got a series of heartbreak teams here in the Steelers, Colts, and Lions as it stands right now. We're going to walk through our team's path to the playoffs in just a minute here. But before that, I want to tell a really quick story. I feel bad for Dub now that he's talking about this parrot thing, because at 10 a.m. this morning, we got on a call. We set up his camera. Dub got this really cool new AI tracking camera. He wanted to show it to me. He's moving around the screen. The camera's following him. He puts up an L and it zooms in on his face. He was all excited about the camera. And there he is, sitting just on top of Sam's shoulder. No camera for you today, Dub.
Not working.
Oh shit! I think my dogs just ran into the office door. It sounded like I was being broken into. Okay, Max, Lions fan. Tough year so far, dude. Team looks good, but what do you think? What are the likelihood? Before we get into this, how good do you feel about the Lions making the playoffs? How good do you feel about their chances if they do?
I'd love to say I feel great, but we just had another bad injury last week. I don't know if you saw Brian Branch, absolute mulligan, our leader on defense, torn Achilles. So that's not great for trying to get into the playoffs. But offense is there. If we give the ball to Gibbs like we usually do, offense usually should look good. But it's a defense, man. We're always beat up. So
Call them Sonic and Knuckles, right? Diggs and Monty. The defense
Yeah.
does look brutal. Okay, have you guys seen this before? Have you seen Sam prior to last week? But have you guys seen the playoff machine?
Yeah.
Okay. Max, Max, yours might be very small here. I'm gonna share something with you. This link here, if you open that up in a separate browser, you should be able to see the full screen.
I'll pull it up.
Dallas Goddard, dude, I'm telling you, he just strolled in for another one of those little pitch touchdowns. They're feeding him in the red zone, man.
I told you,
He's
man.
a start.
Hurts can't
He's
throw
a
the
start
ball.
for-
Can't throw the ball, so he's got to just. I don't know what.
He's got to throw at the biggest, whitest target on the field.
Yeah, can't miss it. Dude. Okay, Max, can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
see
sick.
it now.
All right, so playoff machine. The way that this works is we go through, we predict the routes. So who's going to win which particular game, what this looks like, et cetera, et cetera. I think we'll start here because I feel the best personally about the Lions and their chances of making the playoffs here. They're playing the Rams today. We got Dub here. Dub, you'll be the audience vote, but we got 3 people here. I don't want a tiebreaker. I need an answer. Sam, Max, does the Lions beat the Rams?
I'll let you guys go first because I'm a Lions fan. I want to see what
Sam?
you guys say.
They're in Los Angeles.
Yes.
No, I want them to, but no.
I'll say the same thing. I think the Rams probably beat this. I think the Lions are going to get right. I don't think it's here. Max?
If it's in Detroit, I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, I think the Rams probably win, but Goff usually has that chip on the shoulder whenever we play out. And trying to think, I'm pretty sure we've won. We beat them in the playoffs 2 years ago. We've normally beat them in the recent years ever since that big trade happened. But the Rams they're a great football team. Matthew Stafford's playing as good as he's ever played in his career. So it's going to be a tough one if we come out.
All right.
But,
and just on the backs of that, we're going to go really quick here through the other NFC teams. As it stands right now, we're likely going to see the Cardinals take this L. So we're going to give Houston the win. We're going to see the Bears probably beat the Browns. Sam, who's winning in the Giants-Commanders game? Not that this game matters at all.
Commanders are, but yeah, irrelevant.
Let's give it to them. We're going to see the Eagles beat the Raiders. And as it stands, I mean, the Seahawks are bullying the Colts today. That is the truth here. This is the game that has the most impact on the route for the Lions. Who's winning this? Broncos are... I'm giving this one to the Pack. I think the Packers probably beat the Broncos today. I don't feel good about saying that, but that's what I think is going to happen.
I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I mean, they have great coaching. Right. They've been playing really good football this year.
Taking those boys. All right, we're gonna go 49ers take this win. This game is another irrelevant game, but the Panthers have looked better as of late. Obviously, I mean, the 4 of us could beat the Vikings as it stands. We're gonna go to week 16. Okay, week 16, the Lions are playing the Steelers. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm gonna go with the big veto here. This is a line. This isn't up for debate. The Lions are winning this game. I feel bad for you as somebody who is also on a team that sucks, but this feels obvious here, right? I think that this is a clear win. As we look at the NFC for this week, I would give the Giants, Vikings, it doesn't matter, so we'll give it to the Giants for the hell of it. The Colts, listen, we're doing this exercise to see how any of our teams can make the playoffs. The reality is the Colts are losing out from here on out, so anytime the Colts are on screen, we're going to give that other team the win.
Let's get a Phillip Rivers projection for the day, though.
I said to Sam before the show, Max, if we get 200 total yards and 2 TDs, I will buy a Phillip Rivers. Actually, I already have a Phillip Rivers jersey. I will buy a Phillip Rivers jersey again and just do something with it. Something stupid. Something like
you have a Rivers Chargers jersey already?
I bought a Rivers Colts jersey year that, dude, I was heartbroken. You know, we just got left at the altar. We finally built an O-line. Andrew Luck's like, don't want to do this anymore, guys. Sorry. Takes off. Okay, looking at this, for me, obviously, 49ers win. Cowboys-Chargers will be an interesting one next week, but I think I'll give the edge to the Chargers. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
I don't know. The
Yeah.
Chargers don't look that great. I want to say Chargers are the better football team, obviously, but sometimes Dallas, these late games, they randomly will put up like 35 points.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
it'll be like a 425 game of the week on Fox. Dak will throw 4 touchdowns randomly. I don't know.
They put up 35 every week. And every time I see the Chargers record for the last 3 weeks, I've been surprised. And I
Yeah.
watch all their games, so I don't know why I'm surprised. Like I should know their record, but that tells me that they don't pass like the eye test. You know, when you just watch them play football, they don't look like a 9-14.
Yeah, I agree.
They just
Especially
don't.
as we said earlier today, right? Broken hand, no lineman. We'll give it to the
Yeah.
Cowboys. Okay, there are 2 games next week, Max, that really, really hurt your Lions' chance of making the playoffs. And it is the Bears-Packers game. Either one of these teams winning, bad for the Lions. Unfortunately, best case scenario is a tie. Not going to happen. The other game that is really interesting for you as a Lions fan is the Rams-Seahawks games. Rapid fire, Sam, Max, winner from each of these games. Who do you have?
Go ahead, Max.
I'm gonna say Seahawks win that game at home.
Seahawks win it. Who's winning the Bears-Packers game?
Packers.
Packers take it. And we see a change in the seating there. Okay, last 2 weeks, really quick. We'll fly through this. Lions are beating the Vikings. Let's be real here. This is a win. AFC, Bucks beat the Dolphins. I think the Seahawks beat the Panthers. Who else do we have? Green Bay. I honestly think Green Bay probably loses this game to the Ravens. I feel like they're going to drop one, and the Ravens feels like the right spot to me. But let's give this game here. Eagles, Bills. That's a tough one. Who do you think?
Yeah. Wait, it's in Buffalo?
Yeah.
It's going to be a snow game. Yeah, but I'll give it to Allen.
All right,
Yeah,
Josh
I'll
Allen
take
takes a
Bills
win
too.
here. And then obviously this is the and then I will give that to the Ravens. And then here's the final spot. This is your last week. Bears, Lions, they have to win this to get in.
Yeah,
This
we'll
is
win.
the only path, okay? We click this. As it stands right now, if we see the Lions win, they lose to the Rams, they win against the Steelers, they win against the Vikings, which I think those are 2 givens. Their entire season comes to a divisional game between the Bears and the Lions in Week 18. That's why you watch football, man, right? Look at this. Your entire season, 3 guys on the bubble. Not only as it stands right now, all 3 teams cannot make the playoffs. So one of those 2 teams in the North are going to miss, and it
That
looks
is
like it will
crazy.
come down to this Bears game.
Now, what happens if the Packers, or who do we choose? The Bears. What happens if the Bears win?
If the Bears win, look how different this is. Okay, a Bears loss.
No, I mean the Bears Packers game 2 weeks ago.
Oh, back here.
Yeah, because I think we chose the Packers, but the Bears win that game. Then what happens?
Then it's the Bears and the Lions.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's how close this division is, right? One game changes. Right now the Bears can only finish in either second in the entire AFC, 7th, or not at all making the playoffs, and it's just a 1-win difference between that swing. It's
So that's the
absolutely
biggest game in the division. What is that? Week 17, Bears Packers
the Bears Packers game is next week.
next week.
16.
Dang.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's going to be a massive game for those 2 games.
I think the path for the Steelers and the Colts is a lot of praying, and that's probably just about it. There's no other chance for these. I mean, again, we said to Sam before you came on, Max, somebody from the AFC North has to get in, so that's probably why.
The Steelers are probably poised to get in, right?
They are. They're currently in first in the division.
They'll be 9-8 round. That's usually what happens.
All right.
So
sorry, go ahead, Sam.
if the Ravens win this week and then the Steelers, like if we basically keep parity though, we're still in a position where at the end of the season we play each other, and that's going to be for the division in all likelihood.
Yeah. So
unless the Ravens collapse or we collapse, then I think it's probably going to end up just being week 18.
yeah, it looks like so in week 18 we got Ravens Steelers divisional game. We've got Colts Texans. Actually, it's all divisional games to end the year, but the biggest one's
That's so
obviously.
sick. I love that they started doing this a few years ago,
This is
man.
what makes
Because
it. This what makes football fun, right?
Yeah, I mean that Steelers Ravens game is going to be massive too. So that's going to
yeah. And you end up with a bunch of, even if one team sucks or like is definitely out of the playoffs, so often it's the divisional opponents that end up playing the spoiler, and you
Yep.
know that they still wake up and they're like, I want to make sure the Texans like miss their fuck it, and so it really creates some spice. The Bills are currently on the 1 yard line, but I think despite being first and goal, they're now at fourth and goal. I'm pretty sure. That would bring
Looks
it
like they
to a
got stuffed a
3-score
couple
game if
times.
they're able to pound it in. Shador Sanders also was in the arms of a defensive lineman and threw an absolute dart to be able to still turn it into a positive play, knocking shambles as a Shador hater.
I hate that dude. I don't think
Unfortunately,
he's that good. Okay, we saw a couple of really interesting things here. Looks like the Bills may have scored. That looks like that's under review.
very close.
Okay, we're gonna walk through really quick scoring on FTF. It's been a little while. Lots have changed. Lots of things have happened
Dude,
here.
Derrick Henry is cooking now that they have a 2-score lead in the ball. They're
Yeah,
just
they're gonna
feeding the
feed the
kid.
man.
So I feel bad about saying sit, but I thought this was going to be a shootout.
So Drake May holding the position as expected. We see Hurts, Allen, Jackson rounding up the top 5 in the running back spot. Saquon Barkley has now jumped Travion Henderson. He is in second place. James Cook right now in 4th. Keep in mind, if that play gets overturned here and the Bills do score, James Cook will jump into second place with 20.5 points, 10 points back of Bijan Robinson.
Is that without the score?
That's without
He's
the
at
score as it
14
stands.
without it?
Yeah, he's already
No
scored once
shit.
today. Yeah, on the receiving play.
That,
Dallas
yeah, that
Goedert
passing.
at 25 points, which is just absurd. So there's only 3 spots available for scoring in the tight end position in football.fun. As it stands right now, 2 of those 3 guys are Sam's must starts in Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. The other, a guy Sam's not starting at all in Dallas Goedert.
Is this point per reception, or how's the scoring
So,
here?
yeah, really good question. So, breakdown of scoring here. It is point per reception, so every catch is worth 1 point.
Yeah.
Your standard yardage, 0.1 points per 1 yard scored, so 10 yards equates to a single point. You get 6 points for a receiving or rushing touchdown, 4 points for a passing touchdown, and then they also have a bonus scoring system in FDF. So if you are a wide receiver or running back, you hit 100 yards receiving or 100 yards rushing, you're going to get a flat 3-point bonus. For quarterbacks, if you hit 300 yards passing, you'll get a flat 3-point bonus. The final standing of the day here, Jamar Chase, our must-start wide receiver, because we figured they had to win through Jamar Chase, is sitting in first place. Zay Flowers, the other wide receiver in that game. Fun fact, Nico Collins, now 2.5 hours after that original score, has still done nothing else. This entire 12.7 points max comes from one play, a 57-yard touchdown at the beginning of the first quarter. Nico Collins does not have a catch for the remainder of the game from that point in time. Pretty wild to see that play out.
The Texans are up like pretty well right now, right?
Yeah.
What's the score?
Yeah.
So
Zay Flowers also just dropped a touchdown pass on 3rd and 3. So now it's going to result in a field goal. Fantasy owners in shambles. Steve in the chat among them. He says Herbert is making some amazing throws, but the Bills do end up getting the touchdown. So that is now a 3-point game after the Bills were down 21-0. Just
crazy.
I mean, it was before the half, but that was only maybe 10 or 15 minutes of actual game time between them being down 21-0 and now being back in it. Tough.
I feel like this is like classic Bills fashion where they'll come back. It'll end up being like double overtime game. Josh Allen, Drake May go head to head.
And that's exactly why I hit the over on 54.5 points scored. Now sitting at 84% chance, which is kind of crazy.
Did you got the odds on Chargers Chiefs?
Would you buy that?
Oh, 20.
Nice. Dub bought the Chargers at 20% odds, and they're now about 50-50.
Okay, actually, great call there, Dub. So, Max, we're still going to be able to hear you. We're going to go to a line screen. It's only got 2 camera slots, so you won't see yourself on screen, but you're going to walk through some of these existing lines. As Sam mentioned, we had at 2:30, we said, who would be the team?
Knock, your audio just cut out for me.
What's Gnoc got to do?
Cleveland finally gets on the board with a field goal, 3rd and 7 for Caleb Williams.
So,
if they shut him down here, they actually have a chance to start getting back into it. Sorry, Knock, I heard you.
When I press that BRB screen, because I pressed way too many buttons way too quickly, it auto locks my mic, and I don't know how I did that, but I need to stop it. Okay, so we said at 3 o'clock we would take a look here. As it stands right now, The Bills and Pat's game has gotten much closer. It's sitting at 57-43. Those numbers were like 86% in favor of New England just 30 minutes ago. The game that is the closest is Dub's game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers are now only a 4-point difference on the Kalshi odds. That will be the winner. So if you guessed Chiefs Chargers, you have won that pack. If nobody has guessed Chiefs Chargers, we're going to roll downstream and take the Buffalo Bills New England game, as those are the closest two lines. As I take a quick look around the league, everything else is sort of already out of reach for most of the other teams that are playing. So Chargers Chiefs, if you pick that, you won. If nobody picked that, Bills Pats, that is your second option. Max, we are bringing you back up. Oh, just a lie. Now we're bringing you back up. Okay, we've had some action now on FDF. It looked like quite a few people have jumped up. AJ Brown, who just 40 minutes ago when we were talking to AJ from football.fun, had 0 points, is now sitting at 12.1 points. You have to imagine that came off the backs of a rather big touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like it was a 27-yard touchdown. Just looking at the box score right here. So finally get him going. He's I don't know what you guys think. I think AJ Brown's one of the best receivers in the league, but he's just underutilized in Philly.
I think they have one of the best pairs, like between AJ Brown and the Slim Reaper over there. Those guys are insane pair of wide receivers. It's just you don't have a method to get the ball to them.
I used to be big on Jalen Hurts, but this year, I mean, he's proved not a great not a good passing quarterback per se.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When your quarterback and his most famous play, and something you're willing to do, is have your quarterback 15 times a game jump at the bottom of a pile of 25 men. What that tells me is you're not too worried about his ability to throw the football, and you're not too worried about his hands because he can't throw it to begin with. Think about it as across the league, every other quarterback, all of the pocket passers that you've seen as we were growing up, as we were watching football as kids, you would see Tom Brady in, and you'd see somebody else come in for that QB sneak because Tom Brady's hands and his arms were too valuable. Jalen Hurts, they said, fuck it. Let's run it 53 times a game, and we're going to put him at the bottom of that pile. That tells you all you need to know about their belief in him as a passer.
It's working out though. What does he have? Like 40 touchdowns in the last 2 years?
It's pretty crazy.
40 rushing touchdowns, like breaking all the records.
Push is maybe the most absurd play I've seen. Chris, congratulations. You called it both on Twitter and on YouTube. You have won that pack. I'm going to mark that down as well.
Texans back in the red zone. The Chargers are just a few yards away from scoring and maybe taking the lead in that one. They'll at least walk away with a tie, most likely. Gnoc, I know it's a little bit off topic, but I sent you this post on Instagram. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I know Max also lives in a very cold place. And can we bring this up and see what Max's reaction is to what I can only assume is what you do, Gnoc, really Saturday through the following Friday.
Oh, God. Hold on. Yes, we will bring it up. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, in Ohio yesterday, it was like snowing all day. We had a blizzard, -5 degrees Fahrenheit. So,
Sam, what is this?
This is
what
you,
is
bro.
This? Oh man. Okay, last night it's crazy to me for people who don't live in cold weather, how wild they think like certain temperatures are. Last night, Christine and I were out for a friend's birthday. We walked home. It was like a 20-minute walk. It was -14 degrees Celsius, which in Fahrenheit I think is approaching the number where Fahrenheit and Celsius actually just become the same temperature.
yeah.
So we were walking home in that. You're not too far off from this, Sam. We're gonna pull this up. Where do I have this? Okay.
That's going to That's pretty accurate, honestly.
I don't know if you've ever been on skates, but jumping on skates the way these guys are jumping is not easy. It is a wildly dangerous thing to do. I don't know how
these guys are like actually insanely athletic for me doing this. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hold on,
bro, scroll down before you close it out. See if one of the recommended videos is they have a compilation of them dunking.
Yeah.
They like go off ramps and dunk.
Okay,
it's insane.
Wait, do you know that there's a whole sport, like minus the dunking, but there's a whole sport for like skates on ramps? Have you ever watched? It's called Red Bull Crashed Ice.
Oh, dude, Crashed Ice is amazing.
So,
Oh, man.
Sam,
I've been to live Crashed Ice.
yeah,
dude.
me too. So, Max, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but you see these like little like slalom style hills that they built. What is this video? Oh,
Yeah.
this is them building it. Okay, so this is an actual sport. It's called Red Bull Crashed Ice. Basically, it is this minus the basketball court, and what they're doing is a downhill like slalom style event with boards and like fighting. And these guys are racing downhill on skates on a big ice course that they've put together. There's jumps, there's obstacles. These guys are beating the shit out of each other on the way down. It's basically this, Sam. He's also wearing. You can tell that this guy's Canadian because he's got a Vince Carter Raptors jersey on, and he's trying to do the Vince Carter dunk. So that's hilarious. I don't know where you found this, but this is fucking
Insane, bro.
I thought you guys were gonna bring up. Remember that back in the day, it was like 3-on-3 basketball on trampolines.
Wild. Yes,
And,
when they were literally beating the shit out of each
and
other.
it was like full contact sport
Hold
too.
on.
It was
As we
3v3
are
basketball.
walking through some of these highlights here, I will. Sam, yap for 3 minutes for me while I find this fucking this basketball thing.
Yeah, basketball
no
was
worries.
like, it was like every Sunday growing up watching it. It was insane.
It was on Spike TV, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
something like yeah.
It came back last
Yeah,
year.
it came back.
Slam Ball.
Slam ball.
Slam
That's
ball.
right.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
That
and
was an electric
Slam
sport.
highlights.
They're so good.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
They came back and only lasted half a season.
Yeah, because
That's
people were
crazy, bro.
dying.
Imagine doing all the work to like have an entire fucking like a whole league. You know, the amount of people that need to be involved to make a league, all the deals you have to have with arenas and whatever. And then you're like literally 4 weeks in, you're like, nah. Hang it up, boys.
Never mind. Let's take the trampolines back.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we remembered why this was no longer a sport.
Yeah, look
This-
at this. I mean,
This
they're
is
wearing
like
like
a
arm
penalty
pads
shot
and
in slam
everything.
ball. So this is like they did this when there was like a foul committed. This looks like it was a dunk competition, but they basically played this sport, basketball on trampolines. A lot of these guys were wearing pads, and there are like clips of people going up to dunk and just getting laid out in the middle
Yeah.
of the air. It is a truly
I love how it's
wild
played in a
sport.
hockey arena too. Like they got the glass
Yeah.
surrounding the court.
So sick.
This is a very
Yeah,
early
look up like
2000s.
slam ball hits or something, because there's crazy compilations out there of people getting absolutely thrashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might have been one of the best sports ever. I mean, this was, look at that. Lowers the shoulder poster.
I mean, he was already basically playing slam ball.
He invented it in the actual NBA.
This guy
But
got hit
yeah.
over the boards in a game of basketball.
He would have made it at least a quarter and a half before his knees were unrepairable.
Oh my.
Yeah, if you had like Big Baby Davis out there, like
Yeah,
6'6",
Glenn Davis would
280.
be wild.
Holy shit, dude. Like,
Man, yeah, this
listen,
is
I think football is a dumb sport with a number of people who got carted off. As we're speaking about that, it looks like Chris Jones is being worked on the sideline here. This is absurd. Look at that hit.
Can you imagine the beginning days, the guys having meetings about this league, like setting it up? Like,
What if we put 3 trampolines at the bottom of a basketball net?
make it full contact, like
Not
no
enough
penalties at
floating.
all.
Oh, it looks
It's
like Drake may have thrown an interception to Tre'Davious White. They brought him back.
Oh, crazy.
That is a
catch.
big swing. Okay,
Clean.
let's take a really quick look at some of these clips. Quite a few things have happened over the last little while.
Massive
Caleb Williams makes a big pass here. Oh my, DJ Moore, another touchdown. Sam, the Roma Dunze pick looks good.
Hey.
So, quick reminder, if you're watching this and you're looking at Roma Dunze and you're not sure why he has not moved up the leaderboards yet, right before game time, he was designated as an active player. He was meant to play today. He hurt his foot in warm-ups. He was ruled out 7 minutes before kickoff. We had AJ from FDF on the show earlier today. They mentioned that they will have that solved. So if Romo Dunze has not climbed the leaderboard yet, you're likely in for a treat. DJ Moore has now scored, 2 touchdowns on the day, Sam? At least 60 or 70 yards receiving. He's in a pretty good spot there.
Yep.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has had another touchdown too.
Incredible, man. That guy's having a day.
Yeah.
ETN not having a day, evidently. Here's AJ Brown to Hurts. The longest pass of his career. Touchdown. James Cook, another touchdown from James Cook. This should put him into the first. So they did count this as a touchdown, Sam. After review, it looks like it was It was
And
confirmed.
now you see those of the ball back with
Yep.
the intercept.
And then Lassiter hits the backflip. This is hilarious. I think people forget how athletic these guys are.
Yeah.
Looks beside him, make sure that he
Wearing
doesn't
like
land on anybody. And
wearing
here's
full pads.
Alan Dawson Knox. This is what allowed them to get back into that position. So now that game is 24-21. Really quick. Again, we will still hear you, Max. Just really quick, we're going to look at those Bills lines, and then we're going to come right back to FDF and the scoring. That Bill line is now 51-49, so that has come a lot closer. It looks like New England is still in favor.
Ooh.
That'll likely change now over the next little while here. What we see, Sam?
Couple of quick updates. Shador Sanders threw a red zone interception. Looks like the Bills are pretty much going to the Bears are pretty much going to put a stamp on that one. Steve Adler also mentioning in the comments, Eagles are up 31-0 and pulled the starters, so probably no more points out of Jalen Hurts and co. He also says Derrick Henry now at 95 yards. You always talk about that 100-yard bonus, so keep an eye on that. But they're winning by enough that, again, at any point they could just say time for the backup to get some yards, especially since they're potentially a playoff team. And then the weather in New England is getting worse again, courtesy of Steve. He's keeping us updated, which I appreciate. So there's a chance that over 54.5 points starts to look uglier as the weather gets uglier and it's harder to get the ball in the end zone.
You need 9 points though, right, Sam, as it stands?
We're on the cusp. I'm bad at math, but we're close.
All right. Let's really quick take a look at the wide receiver spot. BTJ has now jumped into first place. Zay Flowers, Jamar Chase in what is a relatively close game. That game, actually, I guess it's probably actually run away. It's 17-0 Cincinnati. Expect more passing on the side of the Bengals, more running on the side of Ravens. 17-0 leading into the fourth quarter. You want to run that clock out. So Zay Flowers has probably had his fair share for today. Nico Collins now entering the fourth quarter. Still has not done anything since that first drive. Actually incredible.
Insane,
and we've seen Drake London and Emeka Ibuka fall out of that top 5. Those are the 2 players who played on Thursday night. Drake London's points come from next man up, which was Darnell Mooney. Emeka Ibuka sitting at 10.4. The tight end position, Dallas Goedert holding on, but just barely. Trey McBride at 24.7. That'll be an interesting one over the next little while. The Cardinals are down pretty big to Houston. So I would imagine that you're going to see a lot more garbage time. Might be a really good, interesting opportunity for Trey McBride. Dalton Kincaid.
The drop off after that too. I mean, Brock Bowers, largely the number 1 overall pick for tight ends, sitting at a third of what the other 2 guys
the tight end
have,
position
and so
last few weeks
going to be replaced.
Dude.
I actually thought Bowers was gonna have a really good game today because Kenny Pickett was starting, and usually bad quarterbacks like to throw to their tight end for a security blanket. So I was thinking he was gonna get peppered with
Max,
targets.
that's why earlier today we said, hey, Tyler Warren feels like a really good start. You got a rookie quarterback who can't run, who's been really good at getting the ball out quick. Tyler Warren seems like, listen, anytime you got
he might get 25 targets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Because I don't think Phil could throw any further than 6-7 yards at this point.
He might have like 13 receptions for 60 yards.
So he might take first place just off of PPR points. All right. We're looking at the running back position. James Cook now jumped into first. That was that touchdown that did count. Saquon Barkley now no longer playing. Keep in mind, as Steve mentioned, we saw this now on Reddit. Jalen Hurts has been sat. It sounds like A.J. Brown and the Slim Reaper himself, Devonta Smith, are probably also on the bench, which surely means Saquon Barkley will no longer be playing. He's currently in fourth, just barely holding on. You're starting to see Derrick Henry. Steve said Derrick Henry's at 95 yards. 5 more rushing yards, he gets that 3-point bonus. That would bring him into the top 5 off the backs of that combination there. So Henry could eclipse Henderson and Barkley. Barkley probably not going to be able to hold on to this scoring position over the course of the remainder of this day.
Real quick on that too, Snakey mentioning that ETN has 2 receiving touchdowns, and that's why he's cooking in that third position. I think he's caught maybe the last 2. Trey McBride also just scored a touchdown. I'm not sure if that was before or after.
Trey McBride, 36.7 points, jumps up. So now Trey has also crossed that 100-yard threshold, if I'm correct there. So he had that touchdown. He got 7 points, the 6 for the score, the 1 for the catch, and then the 3. That was a 10-point swing. He's now jumped into first place by a wide margin. Actually, if you combine the next 2 guys, they're still not at Trey McBride. In that quarterback spot, Jalen Hurts. hurts to see him at the top of the leaderboard.
I hate it.
Oftentimes hurts to watch him play football, but there he is in the number 1 spot above Drake May. Baker Mayfield still holding on to that top 3. Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson knocking on the door. Remember, from the quarterback position, only the top 3 are in scoring position over the course of that week.
Yeah, Hurts is game though. I'm looking at the
Hurts is also out of the game. Good point, and he's only holding on by 1.6 points. So you got to imagine that he's down. The Chargers Chiefs game is now tied.
It sure is, man. I think Drake May is going to end up being the number 1 quarterback.
I think so too.
Potentially of the week, especially because that game is close. I think we see at least another touchdown or 2 in the fourth quarter between those 2 teams. Josh Allen also could make a move as well. Caleb Williams probably not going to do a lot from here, though.
You mean to tell me you don't believe in 44-year-old Felipe Rios?
Is not an FDF boy, as bad as I would have bet it all on him. I would
love to see him go 404 today. That would just be incredible. He'll probably do the exact opposite.
If he goes 404 today, we're getting a movie. You know that, right? Like, we will.
Yeah.
Honestly,
they'll just put him in the Hall of Fame. You know how they delayed it?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
The only active player with a Hall of Fame candidacy.
Yeah.
I'll say this. The best possible outcome for the NFL as like an entertainment product is Phillip Rivers is not only not bad, but he's good, and the Colts make like some sort of deep playoff run. Dude, it would be like Miracle on Ice. It would be every movie that you've ever watched, but playing out in real time. A 44-year-old, 5-year retiree. This guy has been retired for longer than 11 of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL have been in the league, and he is back playing today. It's truly absurd.
We haven't seen a single person rooting against it either.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one be like, I hope he gets fucked up.
I think people also forget how long it has been. He has only been retired for 1 year longer than Andrew Luck. For anybody who's been watching football, it feels like Luck hasn't played football this century. And Phillip Rivers retired the following season. Josh Allen just took a huge, huge hit.
That was a really interesting play too, because he sort of fumbled, but it was while he was starting to slide.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of plays over the past couple of years that's been like, well, it's when he starts the slide. And it's like, is that true too for turnovers?
I think the slide and the catch rule are the 2 dumbest rules in football. Nobody knows how they work. They get them wrong every week. Nobody knows what's going on.
Snakey says you can't root against Phillip Rivers. He has 600 kids.
Dude,
he's got a whole family to feed.
Yeah, dude.
right.
Phillip Rivers, we're playing the Seahawks today, so not quite Sam Darnold, but his oldest daughter is older than Bo Nix.
Wow.
Yeah, he has a grandson.
Well, she's got a kid. Yeah,
he has a grandson. He has a 2-year-old kid and a 1-year-old grandson. Imagine your uncle being a year older than you.
Yeah, I love how he was just called. He was on the couch, like he just took the call, and he's like, "What's up?" And they're like, "We need you to play." Like it was.
Somebody's like, he's been at home for 5 years with 10 kids. He's seen more shit than a plumber. I'm like, oh my god, dude. All right, so
I just sent you Gnoc the play from last week. I thought was pretty interesting from the Ravens. And then also I want to talk about cap space a little bit too as we look at the standings this season. One of the most insane things I think is the current cap space scenario, which you guys will see why whenever the chart comes up if you haven't seen this before. But the Ravens lost last week, as we saw on Amplified. A little bit different than we thought at first, though. And I think it's interesting to see the play from a different perspective.
Let me pull this up.
Max, how much stake do you put in the Lions being ineffective this year, in losing your offensive coordinator, who now seems to be actually quite a stud, versus just injuries or, people moving on, getting older, or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is, I would say, from Ben Johnson leaving, because he was, I mean, as you can see, he's a really good coach. Comes to Chicago, completely turns it around. I mean, even though we still, killed the Bears early on in the season, he was a great offensive coordinator. We had the best offense, I think, in years last year, like out of any NFL team ever. And then I don't know if you guys have been following, but the offensive coordinator we hired, he got his play calling abilities taken away from him a couple of weeks ago because he was doing such a bad job with the offense. So
Steep drop.
and then didn't help either. I know you said injuries outside of injuries, but our starting center, who's like an all pro center, retired like right before the first week started. So that didn't help at all either.
That was an insane story. So if you're
Yeah.
unfamiliar, before we watch this Ravens clip, Frank Ragnow was an all-pro center. He was an incredible center. He retires before the season. He comes back 2 weeks ago and he says, "You know what? I'm going to unretire." He shows up with a grade 3 hamstring sprain. If you're unfamiliar with what the grade system means, a grade 3 hamstring sprain is a sprain in name only. It means the muscle is no longer attached to the bone. And the question is, one, how the fuck did he walk into the stadium without it? Two, what made this guy think that he could come back like that? So he goes through the physical. He obviously fails the physical. He's now physically unable to perform. He cannot come back. It looked for a second you were going to get a big piece of that Lions O-line back. Obviously, that's not the case. And if you're not familiar with football, in order of the most important positions on the field on offense, when it comes to calling protections, when it comes to diagnosing what the defense is doing, it goes quarterback, center. And a lot of the times, when you lose a center, you lose a massive part of what that offense is able to do, because the center will call protections. He'll move the O-lineman around. He'll make decisions that help to inform the quarterback. Frank Ragnow, obviously a great player in his ability to block, but more importantly, really smart guy. So that was a huge, huge loss for those guys. This is a clip from last week. This was in that Steelers Ravens game. We saw the Ravens marching late. They looked like they were maybe going to put some pressure on the Steelers. We see this sort of pass breakup. It goes off the hands of Mark Andrews, but Sam shares this with me after the game, and it actually looks like that pass was not intended for Mark Andrews at all, but was intended for DeAndre Hopkins, who's sitting wide open in the back of the end zone. You're going to see this scroll up in a second. If you pause right here, you see him sitting there at the top of your screen in this top right corner. You should see DeAndre
By
Hopkins
himself, man, making a drink,
super open,
hanging out.
Lamar sees it, plants his foot, throws it. Looks like that ball is going right to Hopkins. Mark Andrews comes in, gets a hand on it, knocks that ball to the ground. Ravens lose.
Tough.
Mark Andrews has been and look at DeAndre Hopkins. I actually
Just in shambles, bro.
Mark Andrews, great tight end over his career, has had a lot of really good seasons there in Baltimore. But man, it does seem like the last couple of years he's becoming more known for those drops. What'd you see, Sam?
Massive pass interference call in the New England game. It does look like it's pass interference. Really weird play. The ball actually came between both the defender and the wide receiver, and then the defender pulled it away from them. So if it wasn't pass interference, it would have been a pick, I think, which would have been obviously massive. But now instead, it's a red zone trip for the Bills with the opportunity to take the lead. Rashee Rice
just got
also
murdered, dude.
He is in the shadow realm right now. We'll see if we can get a voodoo doctor to pull him out, because good Lord.
You know, I'll say something here. Rashee Rice, great football player, not a great dude. If you're not familiar, last offseason, got in a car accident, left the scene, and last week he got blown up, to which one of my favorite creators, his name's Film Watchers on TikTok, posted a video, and he says, Rashee Rice finding out in real time what it's like to be hit at a high rate of speed and have the person responsible for it running away. And I'm like, oh my God. And then sure enough, the following week gets absolutely blown up.
Wait, do you guys have a clip of this? I didn't see it.
Yeah. I'll see if I can bring up the exact video. It was so funny.
I bet this Rashee Rice hit's gonna come up on Reddit in just a second for us to show off too. And DeAndre Swift just trots in for a 17-yard TD. So that's a big one for the running back position.
Yeah, you should have
big one there.
The Bills now 3rd and goal.
And
Swift's now 5 yards away from 100, so
he's
close
almost there.
That's big. He'll probably get there too, because you have to imagine they're going to run the clock. So as long as they don't sit him, he should be cooking.
Might get one more drive. It depends on what happens with the Browns' possession next.
Let's see if I can find
that game, though. Did you guys see before the game? It's like negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chill in Chicago.
Yeah.
Same.
That's brutal, dude. I don't know how they do it.
Reddit has been slow. Here's that 20-yard touchdown from Trey McBride earlier today that put him in the lead. Okay, we'll wait for this clip to sort of come up. Let's take a quick peek over on FDF. Obviously, things have been changing quite a bit over the last little while here.
Holding call on the Bills. I think they'll have 3rd and like 15, and then probably kick a field goal.
If they don't
Yep.
score and convert there, yeah. Drake May still not quite, obviously no longer has the ball. Swift jumps into first place. We now have Swift, Cook, Etienne, Barkley as the rounding out of your top 5, but John Robinson came into the day as the leader. He is currently your leader. Really interesting. James Cook, like you said, in the red zone, opportunity there for him to add some points. Tight end position, it's Trey McBride's day. Literally nothing has changed at all since the last time we looked at this, actually.
True.
Same spot for all of the tight ends. And in the wide receivers, BTJ finally doing something. Sad day for the wide receivers. Not one player over 20 yards or 20 points rather in that 1 o'clock window. Most leagues are playing in that half PPR, so even these points will be a little bit inflated to what you're seeing in your standard fantasy leagues if you're playing elsewhere. So really,
Even Jamar Chase, I'm surprised. I thought that game was gonna be closer.
Which game?
The Ravens Bengals. I thought that game would be
Bro.
with Burrow back at home.
Yeah.
Putting a fucking bagel up, dude, against a Ravens defense that was scoring or giving up like 40 points a game. Do you guys remember the beginning of the season? It was like a generationally bad defense. And now we have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow putting up 0 points in 3 quarters. Like,
It's
am I
crazy.
in the
They were
fucking
busted
upside
though.
down?
They were like mega hurt, dude. They lost 3 linebackers. They were down 2 guys in the secondary. It didn't seem like their D lineman. Josh Allen and the Bills just scored, puts them in the lead, 28-4.
That's crazy.
More
3rd
important,
and 15.
yeah, and the most important piece of that is it was not the field goal. So now that game is more than a field goal. The Pats have to score a touchdown in order to win this game. Sam, and Phil. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Wait, really quick. Exact 50-50 right now between Kansas City and the Chargers. Something just happened and there was a massive drop on both of them, completely even.
I just
Who you
looked
got
up. I just
for the
looked
win
up at this, Sam, and I just saw 4th and 46. So I don't know what the fuck just happened in that game. I've never seen a 4th and 46. I don't even know how you get to 4th and 46. So we'll have to do some digging in there. Jamar Chase with a big play. I'm going to give this game. I think the Chargers win it. I think that they're the better team. I think outside of Pat Mahomes, the guy's a magician. He's always a magician. He's one of the best players that's ever played the game. There's no doubt about it. You can't win football games alone. And I think he's largely playing by himself.
You guys heard it from Gnoc himself. I just bought $53 worth of the Chargers at a 53% chance. So if I lose money, it's because of Gnoc. Good job.
Okay.
That was a Dawson Knox touchdown, by the way, in the Bills game. So the tight ends might have been shaked up a little bit. Knock, you're silent again for me.
Yeah, I can't hear me either. Yeah, Dawson Knox 3 for 37, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Dawson Knox does not count though. The tight end in FDF for the Bills is actually Dalton Kincaid. So
that's right.
Yeah, so 2 touchdowns, big day from Knox. A sad day if you're planning to start him. Scary Terry McLaurin with a 50-yard touchdown right here, running a post route. We'll bring that up in a second as well. Pretty interesting. Sam, we talked about this at the beginning of the show and how we saw the Bills play out. Max, again, we will hear you. We're on the lines. Look at this, Sam. This is why I felt like the Bills were always going to win this game. And if you look at this line, this is really interesting. You saw everything that we talked about in the pregame sort of play out. We saw a big lead early from the Patriots going up 14-0. We saw the Patriots kind of slip away in the middle of that game. And we saw some Josh Allen fuckery happening towards the end of this 4th quarter here, or the end of this 3rd quarter. And now the Bills are back in the lead at a 69% chance to win. Really interesting to sort of watch that play out over the last little while here.
Is the alpha to just bet against the Bills in the first half and then buy the Bills in the second half? Because they did the exact same thing against the Steelers too.
Yeah, it seems like they sort of take the first quarter off. I think that that's probably a sign. My brother is probably watching this and he's going to text me as soon as I say it because he's been arguing it for 5 years. But I think that that's probably a sign that they're pretty poorly coached, right? They come out flat more often than not. They typically, when they do get themselves in hole, it's normally in that first quarter. And over the course of the game, as players settle in, as Josh Allen gets into a little bit of a rhythm, you start to see them come back. To me, that's an indication of a poor coaching staff.
Dude, Patrick Mahomes 0 pass yards in the second half, or which is really just the third quarter right now. That's insane. We're seeing a version of the Chiefs that we just have never seen before. Snakey also saying Swift at only 1.6 million shares rostered. That's
actually nuts.
insane.
Crazy.
Oh, you know, Dan. Oh, huge. I can't even tell what the fuck is going on in this game right now. Travion Henderson, maybe just.
Holy.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Oh, 65-yard touchdown. Yeah.
Oh my
Holy,
God, Robert Kraft
God.
looks like he might have had
holy shit.
The guy looked like he was having
I
a
mean, this
fucking
is,
heart
this is
attack.
one of these classic games. It's going to be like an all-timer for Josh Allen.
Wait,
I was
why is
saying-
Jamar Chase all of a sudden at 22? Did the Bengals just get a massive score too?
Not a score. Jamar Chase just converted on a huge 4th and 8.
And that brought him to. Am I seeing this right?
Yeah, he had two receptions for like 36 yards this stretch so far.
Insane run from Travion Henderson. We have to put that up there.
I love whenever the quarterback is out blocking like that, man. Drake May 50 yards downfield, still trying to seal the edge for his guy. You gotta love it, dude.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say though, that's back-to-back Buckeye touchdowns. Scary Terry. Yeah.
Hey.
All right.
Bucks.
You mentioned it. I gotta say it. I didn't know you were a Buckeye fan, so I'm gonna have to say this. Here's my belief. Jury is still out on CJ Stroud. The Buckeyes cannot buy an NFL quarterback. There isn't a single Buckeye that has come out of Ohio State in the last 20 years that was an actual quarterback. Can we agree on that statement?
I mean, you're not wrong. CJ has been the best one.
CJ's been good, and then what's his name? Julian Sayin, I think is his name.
Yeah, Sayin. I mean, he's a dog.
I don't know if you saw the Heisman. I'll see if I can pull it up. There was a Heisman clip going around of all the media at the tents as we're chatting here, and Sayin was basically just alone at the table. I felt so bad for the guy. I'm like, that's not a position that you want to be in. But he has looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be back next year. He's only a redshirt freshman, I think. So, yeah, he's still got another year. But yeah, no, we're more of a wide receiver U in the NFL than we are quarterback, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, wide receiver, list of wide receivers that have come out of Ohio State. Pretty insane. I'll see if Mecca Buka just came out, right?
Yeah, Ibuka, Marvin Harrison the year before, Scary Terry, Olave, Garrett Wilson.
You know what's interesting? You see a lot of this happen. So guys who are still currently in the league, Noah Brown was the 2016. Paris Campbell's still kicking around, and Mecca Ibuka.
Yeah, JSN.
Yeah,
I forgot. JSN's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, probably.
Terry McLaurin, JSN, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison. That's crazy to see that list. You know, somebody was telling me this, and I had to double check, but we had Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones all played on the Alabama Crimson Tide at the same time. That was their QB room. 3 NFL quarterbacks.
They had Devontae Smith, Derrick Henry, or it was something insane. I forget if that was like the same year, but
it was Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and who was the guy that the Patriots drafted in the first round?
Sony Michel.
And Sony Michel were the backfield. So 3 NFL quality, 2 of which were incredible. It's just truly insane what some of these schools can do.
Man, Pat Mahomes just had what can only be described as several decades in the backfield and still managed to get sacked. I feel like I'm watching my dad go into the retirement home or something. Like, it just hurts me in a weird way. That
we call that a coverage sack, when you've got that much time and there's nobody available.
That's right.
So, okay, a couple of quick things have shaken up here. Josh Allen obviously jumped Jalen Hurts. We talked about this earlier. Hurts is not playing. Drake May still on that shot. Look at the running back position off the backs of that big run. So Travion Henderson, 65-yard touchdown, was it? So he got the 6 points for the touchdown, the 6 points for the yards, and then he broke the 100-yard threshold on that run as well. So it gave him an additional 3 points. He has now passed Bijan Robinson, somebody that we thought was probably going to end the day in the number 1 spot. Tight ends, Trey McBride closing in on 39, which is just so stupid to say, because Kyle Pitts on Thursday had the highest scoring PPR line for a tight end ever. Trey McBride now just 4 points back of breaking that record 3 days later. In the wide receiver spot, Jamar Chase, the only wide receiver in the league above 20 points. Nico Collins.
He bumped up a lot. Did he just have a touchdown, or was that? Jamar
I
Chase?
think
Or
Jamar
did we?
Chase hit he had a 20-yard catch, and I think it bumped him over the 100-yard threshold as well.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
you saw that big jump.
Yeah, I think he's over 120 and 9 catches too,
Yeah.
which definitely helps. The most important part of that Travion Henderson run, though, you guessed it. We're officially over 54.5 points. Your boy nailed the bet. Don't talk to me about the other 4.
Shame.
we got the one that mattered.
Time to put it back in the market, Sam. What are you picking for the
That's
fourth?
right.
Yeah.
Money don't make money, you know.
Oh, Sam, you wanted me to bring up we got distracted by some of these big hits. Let me pull this up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll see
yes.
if I can find some of those hits. But look at this cap space image of, you guessed it, the team with the number 1 amount of cap space by over double is the New England Patriots, the almost guaranteed number 1 seed in the AFC. It's insane.
It's pretty insane. I think I look at this list and I think of 2 things right out of the gate. Drake May, you've got 2 more years. He's probably going to sign an extension in the offseason, so that'll not kick in for 2 more years. So you're still going to be on that rookie salary. They'll pick up that 5th-year option. So until 2027, you're really not going to pay all that much money for Drake May. The big name on this list that will get paid soon and will make a ton of money is Will Campbell, left tackle that they drafted this year. Rookie, obviously going into his 2nd year next year. You have to imagine they're going to give him that extension pretty early on because that kid has looked like a stud. That's $50 million right there. Just those 2 players. But again, to your point, Sam, this is the benefit of drafting well and having a young quarterback who can perform, because now they've got a ton of cap space. They have room to sign some of their veterans over the course of the next couple of years, and they're not paying a quarterback $50 million, which they will in a couple of years.
Oh, red zone pickoff. Bengals throw an interception, and on the return, the linebacker that caught it handed it off to a faster DB, not lateral it, literally holds it backwards and just hands it to a DB that runs it in for a touchdown.
Dude,
that was
disrespectful.
No way. Was that Ravens then? Pick
not
6?
Ravens. That game is officially
no way.
on ice. I mean, if they score a touchdown there, it's actually a reasonable game.
Man, no way. Yeah, lateral to Lohi Gilman. That's crazy.
That was
We're
a
gonna pull
disgusting way to deliver that blow.
The Raiders finished the game against the Eagles with 75 total yards of offense.
My God.
75. That is
Total.
The previous worst was them. It's the worst in the last 25 years. The previous worst was them earlier this year with 85 total yards of offense.
What?
Alone.
All right, Phillip Rivers taking the field. Oh, dude. Oh, dude.
Let's go,
I
dude.
so forgot about this. That we're in the 1 o'clock. I've been so focused on the 1 o'clock slots.
It's coming up,
I have
dude.
completely
We're in the
forgotten.
witching hour, baby.
The minute this show ends, I'm gonna lay on my couch. This is much watch TV, dude. Look at this man.
Dude, he just got like the quintessential dad bod coming out there. Let's
It
go.
was so funny seeing the reports of like best shape he's ever been in, and then you would look at the press conference, and he literally looked like he's been working at Domino's for the past 4 years.
Okay, really interesting thing here, actually, though. This is Phillip Rivers in the middle. This is Riley Leonard. That's that QB strain that we had last week. This is Brett Rippin. This is 3 quarterbacks coming out dressed. So that to me means they're worried that this guy might die today on the field. And then they're saying, okay, if Phil dies, we know that Riley's hurt. We don't really want to put Riley in there. Let's put Rippin in. It's crazy, dude.
Did you see that thing about TJ Warren though? TJ Warren was I think he's a high school quarterback. So he technically is
he's our emergency QB. Sam, what were you saying about Rippin?
Do you think there's a chance that, at halftime, like if Phil just looks, I mean, even if he's technically still alive, do they just go, you know what, we'll see if Rippin, some fresh legs might be able to do?
I want to say no, and the reason why I want to say no is it's important to remember that this is the team that 2 years ago called Jeff Saturday down from behind the desk. And I know you've never coached football at literally any level. Do you want to coach an NFL team? To me, the one thing that the Colts does really well is we lose in the most fun ways, and the most fun way to lose is with a 44-year-old retiree. To me, that is the best option.
Jeff Saturday came in and won the first game, didn't he?
He did, and everyone's like, oh God, is Jeff Saturday the fix here? No, he was not.
That's a good omen, though. That's should fare well for Rivers.
This is that Scary Terry 51-yard. Big play. This guy has been in QB hell his entire career. I think Terry McLaurin is like one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. The guy just has had a bunch of bums throwing him the ball. Here's Drake May.
Jaden Daniels' year, man. The sophomore slump is so real, boys. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he couldn't keep his fucking elbows together.
Jaden Daniels absolutely sucks all of a sudden. It's just crazy.
Daniels dislocated his elbow not once but twice this year.
Ugh. That's disgusting.
I don't ever want to do that one time ever. Never mind twice in a 3-month window.
Oh, Brandon Cooks with another rushing TD.
Brandon Cooks.
James Cook.
Brandon Cooks is on
Brandon Cooks from the New Orleans Saints now playing on the Buffalo Bills.
This game is now 65 points, Sam. You slammed the over.
So what's James Cook at now? You probably just bumped up to.
Oh yeah, he's way up there.
I think is that 2 rushing TDs and 1 catching, 1 receiving.
Yeah, guy's having a day.
Yeah,
okay, hold on a second here. Where is? It should be here.
Good news for ETN players as well. He's still getting carries, and he just rolled in for another great touchdown, actually. 48 points, and the Jags are still keeping the starters out there.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Gnoc. I owe you an apology for doubting T-Law and the boys. I said this was a trap game. I thought they might literally take a nap on the field, but they're hanging in it.
So Travion Henderson's still holding on to the lead. So your number 1 and 3 running backs are in this Bills-Pats game. Really pretty wild. My phone is blowing up, much like we said last week. Oh, look at that. Travis Etienne off the backs of that touchdown. Hey, I want to make this known. Phil, if you're watching this, I need you to clip what I said at the beginning of the show, and I need you to clip what you're looking at right now. And if this changes, delete the fucking clip. But Travis Etienne, my must-start running back for today, currently in second place, only 0.9 points off the lead. In Travion Henderson sitting at the 32.6 points, Travis Etienne with 31.5. That game is probably out of hand now. You're probably going to see a little more Bayshall Tutton. It's 48-20 Jacksonville. So you have to imagine that at that point, Etienne is probably done for the day. But there you go. That's a guy who has not been rostered. He's not heavily rostered today at all. Only 2 million shares. The next closest guy would be DeAndre Swift at 1.6 million shares. Pretty big day for Travis Etienne. Tight end position, this game has been done. Nothing out of Brock Bowers or Dalton Kincaid. And then wide receiver, literally nothing has changed. Nico Collins, asleep at the wheel, still has not done anything other than that. That's first
crazy, bro. Did he get in the concussion protocol or something and we're just not aware of it? Because that's
man. That
insane.
Is truly wild.
This game's actually still kind of close. Only 13-point game. Arizona's getting the ball back.
That's insane. Yeah, hopefully they keep throwing him the rock or start throwing him the rock again. The Chargers back-to-back plays, massive hits. One was a little bit scary to the head and then blew up a running back. Disgusting.
So what happened with Rashee Rice? Is he out of the game?
Yeah, we haven't even been able to find that hit. Nobody has shown it.
Pat Mahomes picked off in the red zone. Chargers get the ball back. Still only a 3-point game, and they're going to have the ball in like the 2-yard line. So that's not great, but
we take that, dude.
Yeah, great catch from the DB. Dub celebrating because he bought him at 20%. What are they at now?
56%.
56.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a big swing right there.
With the family chat going nuts on the back of this Buffalo Bills game, dude.
Yeah, the Bills game is insane.
Yeah, what's your guys' setup on right now? Do you guys have red zone on, or you just have a couple games?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Max. I told Sam this. When I'm on stream, I black out for 4.5 hours, and the minute we get off, I like melt down. My brain is on overdrive right now. I've got OBS. I'm watching us to make sure that everything is going well on the stream. I've got 4 different tabs open, so when you see me cycle through it, you're watching that. I've got on this monitor here, I've got Red Zone Live that I'm streaming to Sam so that we have the same feed, so we're not reacting at different times. And then on top of all that, I'm trying to read through some of these things. Gaspode from FDF says, no idea what you guys are talking about, but the show is really good. Appreciate you, Gaspode. Thank you for tuning in.
I love Gaspode so much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, to answer your question, I'm doing significantly less actual work, but I'm streaming what used to be the Ravens and Bengals game, and then Red Zone from Gnoc. Now I'm watching the Bills and Patriots, and then catching a couple of chats. 4 monitors have never been used to this degree in my house.
Yeah, streaming Reds. And the problem with being in Ohio is the 2 national games are the Bengals and the Browns.
Yeah,
and both awful games right now. So
tough,
I
dude.
found it, boys.
Tough.
We're in for a
Okay,
treat.
in honor of Witching Hour, I've got another clip for you
Send it.
that I would love to get Max and Dub's perspective on, because the Witching Hour, of course, where famously all the games and Maximum Chaos go down to the wire. And Dave Portnoy, love him or hate him, I'm a trend towards hate, but man, this was an amazing.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
okay, I have it. Hold on.
So Portnoy bet the Raiders. There's been a lot of controversy, mostly in the NBA, but definitely creeping into the NFL as well, about refs fixing games or the league being in on it to curate certain storylines, bad beats on the rise. A lot of clips from Chauncey Billups' old games and the things that happened in those, and him sitting certain players. And so Dave Portnoy saw it was a very bad beat. He'll walk us through it. But just go ahead and see his reaction.
Look at that face.
The worst beat of all time. And you have to investigate the Raiders. Investigate the Raiders. What are they doing? What the fuck? That's the worst beat of all time. That is cheating. What the fuck?
These guys are so mad, dude. All of
I gotta rewind this. That's the
I mean, I'm pretty
worst
sure his
fucking
unit
beat
is
of all
like
time.
$200,000,
This is
so.
the worst beat of all time. Pete Carroll should be in fucking prison. Prison for Pete Carroll.
So
First of
Rightfully
all,
what
not.
happens is
the refs,
the
everybody.
Raiders
This
get
is
a
prison.
turnover,
This is prison.
get a penalty that keeps the
There's
clock
16
on,
seconds
and
left
then
in the game.
also
By the way, the
kick a
play
field
before
goal
this,
instead of
there
like
was
going
fucking
for it.
20 seconds.
All
They
within
threw
the
it.
sequence of
Prison.
16 seconds of game.
The spread's 8.5.
And he's just like in disbelief. What's going
Absolute
on?
disbelief.
They spiked the ball.
Wait,
by
so
the
what
way.
was the
They
beat?
ran up
What
and
was it,
Right,
like
spiked
we're
20?
gonna show
Temple.
he yaps for a
Prison
while,
Pete
but-
Carroll.
It was
Okay.
Game
it's
field goal.
10-point lead, and the spread is 8.5. So that field goal,
Keep in mind they kick the field goal to tie it as time expires
just to fuck them.
to break out of that piece here. Okay, so Tony Jefferson. I'm gonna tell you a quick story because I think it's relevant. I'm about to show you 2 clips that'll make you laugh here. Okay, so Tony Jefferson is a player who played most of his career for the Ravens. He retires in 2020. He's dealing with cancer. He comes back to the league in 2022 after a year off, plays for 2 years, retires again in 2024, comes back, and is now playing for the Chargers, in which he's been a really big, powerful part of that Charger secondary. And today, he has decided to retire a pair of Chiefs wide receivers. Here's the hit on Rashee Rice earlier today.
Oh yeah, right in the oh.
Gets absolutely blown up. Keep in mind that comment earlier. Gets
Great
hit at a
hit.
high rate of
Great
speed.
tackle, though. That was like a
Yeah,
absolute
and then he
perfect.
runs away. So there's Tony Jefferson hitting Rashee Rice. I haven't seen this next one yet, but I just read the title, and it was Tony Jefferson hits Tyquan Thornton, also of the Chiefs.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, man. Their team was just getting absolutely.
Ooh.
And he just murders both wide receivers. There's nobody left on that team to throw to. That's a late flag.
Well,
Here's a little more drama.
ironic good news for them is they won't be making the playoffs, so they don't need wide receivers.
Yeah, fair enough. Here's that Travis Etienne passing touchdown that we saw earlier today, or actually just happened a couple minutes ago. This was the 3rd one that Sam alluded to. All 3 touchdowns now are through the air, which is really good for fantasy. You get that extra point each time. Awesome to see. Here's what led to that James Cook touchdown, which gave the Bills the lead. Now, remember, we had that really bad pass interference call that Sam pointed out as the Bills take the lead for the first time. We see Travion Henderson come back with a 65-yard touchdown to swing it back in the Pats' favor. This was called pass interference very late. To me, that
He's got
looks
his-
like
I can't tell if he's like holding him or not, but I think it
that looks
kind
like coverage.
yeah.
Maybe a little jersey
If
tug,
he
and
pulls- if he
maybe
pulls
that's
a
a
little bit,
holding.
then that's yeah. If he pulls a little bit on his shirt,
So this
then
sets up that big play, that big James Cook run that we saw that gave the Bills the lead. Myles Garrett with the half sack. He's now at 21 and a half. We talked about this last week. He needs 1 sack over the next 3 games to tie the record. He needs 1.5 sacks to beat the record. I, for one, would love to see it beat. Michael Strahan held the record since the early 2000s. We saw TJ Watt tie it in 2022, I believe it was. I love Strahan. I think he was a hell of a player. I hate seeing the sack that got him the record, in which Brett Favre sees Strahan come around the corner and just falls to the floor, giving Strahan that record. I want it to be something cooler. I want it to be Myles Garrett, the man who gave himself. He gave the post-game or the pre-game interview today entirely in Japanese, which was a weird flex. I don't know why you decided to do that.
he's like weirdly into anime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's obsessed with it.
Here's CJ Gardner-Johnson picking off Shadur Sanders for the 3rd time. I mean, to be fair to Sanders, the Bears and the Browns, they both got orange. I can see how you get confused. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions today. The guy looks like the Shadur Sanders that we all know and hate.
He's like 7 for 22 with 100 yards and 2 picks. That's a tough day, man.
Rough day to be a Shadur Sanders
No,
opponent.
let me ask you this. So going back to the Myles Garrett conversation, do you think if this week the Browns were playing the Colts, they'd still be starting Phillip Rivers?
No, that would be illegal in like most states. I think that's a war crime, putting a 44-year-old man who's on the couch against the biggest freak of nature who's ever played football. Myles Garrett is an alien. He's not a human being, dude. That guy is like,
no.
Listen, as good as TJ Watt has been, I think TJ Watt is one of the best players we've seen in the last decade. I would say he's probably the 3rd best defensive player we've seen since his brother, behind only Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, of the 3 of those guys, is far and away the freakiest human being ever. He's like 6'5", 260 pounds. He's faster than you. He's stronger than you. He's quicker than you. The guy shouldn't exist. It's actually crazy.
He's my comparison. Like he's like as Victor Wembanyama is in the NBA in terms of freak of nature.
Wemby looks like an alien he looks like something out of fucking out of Space Jam. That guy's like, he can dunk standing straight up. Like he doesn't even need to leave the ground to dunk. The guy can goaltend you.
Did you guys see there's like a 7th grader that can do that too?
That guy's 8'1" or something like that.
There's literally like the most amazing clips of him with people like that don't even reach his belly button, and he's just holding the ball up here and just literally just goes, and like that's a dunk. It's fucking amazing.
After like 6'6", what are you trying to prove? You don't need to be 8'1". You can't get through a fucking door. Every door frame is too big or is too small for you. You can't sit in a car. How does that guy get around?
It's impossible.
Unfortunately, he's probably not in the best condition,
Dude, we
You
saw
gotta make it a long way.
totally unrelated to this football and sports in general, but when I was in Singapore for Token, I saw the tallest man, like the actual tallest man in the world. Like literally like he is officially designated as the world's tallest man. That guy was so tall that he was sitting down on the subway and he was as tall as me while he was sitting. And I look at him like, terrifying. What the fuck is going on? This guy can't even stand up in here. Okay, quick look at wide receivers. Jamar Chase still in the lead. Literally no movement. Oh, Nico Collins. He's alive.
Yes.
He's moved up 3.4 points since we last saw him. The tight end spot. Gadsden jumps into 3rd. Leapfrogs Brock Bowers, is now sitting in scoring position. 1.9 million shares. It is crazy to me that there are more active shares of Gadsden than there is DeAndre Swift at this point.
Damn.
That is crazy, truly wild. You look at the running back position, Travion Henderson back in the lead. ETN, Bijan Robinson now in 3rd. It looks like James Cook will pass him by the end of this game. Robinson at 30 points is honestly, on the cusp of not even being in the top 5. All it takes is one big game in those late window games, and he's out of that list entirely.
The running backs are feasting today, bro.
And then Josh Allen. Hurts,
all
Drake
these
May,
games.
crazy.
Yeah. Looks like the Chargers are going to end up getting stopped on 4th and 7. Huge for the Chiefs. And then the Bills had to punt, which is exactly what the Patriots needed to do in order to still have a chance in this game. They are in Foxborough, and they were the underdogs. So actually, those odds now in hindsight, looking at this score, were actually right on the money, but it does look like the Patriots are going to have a decent chance at running the ball back.
Why is Trevor Lawrence on this again? He wasn't somebody that people started enough.
No,
He's not eligible. Oh, sorry, not go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Trevor Lawrence. So FDF activated 72 players total for this season because they started later in the season, so it wasn't a full NFL season. So Trevor Lawrence just didn't make the cut of startable players at this point in time.
Understandable. I mean, he was pretty bad.
Yeah,
3/4 of the year. So
it didn't sound crazy at all at the time. But there's already a few players that it's pretty surprising. Like looking at it, it almost doesn't make sense. But yeah, at the beginning of the season, at least like 10 players now made way more sense.
We did just get an update from that game as well. Trevor Lawrence is now headed to the bench. You would imagine that the Jag starters will follow him. He ends the day 330 yards and 5 touchdowns, 4 rushes, 48 yards, and a touchdown. He ends his day with 400 total yards of offense and 6 touchdowns.
Jesus Christ. Also, Nico Collins in the end zone. Let's go for the Nico believers out there.
Nice.
It's actually kind of crazy that they're still playing. Isn't that game kind of out of
It
reach?
is. Yeah, it's 20 points now. So it was 2 touchdowns previously and still keeping Nico Collins in. I was going to say, oh, it's because they suck or whatever. No, like the Texans are a good team. They're probably going to make the playoffs. So definitely something that if he does go down with an injury, they're going to be replaying this every single time, telling the coach, like, what the fuck are you doing
We saw
here?
it happen earlier with Jaden Daniels. He got injured on a nothing play at the beginning of the season. Okay, really quick look at the games that are live. We have now ended Philly and Vegas goose egg for Vegas. We've also ended Baltimore Cincy goose egg for Cincy. I have not seen 2 goose eggs in a 1 o'clock window this season, or frankly, I can't even remember the last time I ever saw that. That's a wild start to the day. We've got 6 games left in action. Buffalo Bills and New England. They are 2-minute warning now. I believe New England has the ball. Is that correct, Sam? You said Pats have the ball?
They do. It looks like it's that commercial, I think, for the 2-minute warning.
Cool. Pats have the ball on the march. Houston, Arizona. 3 minutes left. This game is done. Barring like a generational collapse for the Houston Texans, a 20-point lead with 3 minutes on the clock should be plenty of time. LA and KC, 5 minutes left. That's only a 3-point game. Plenty of room for the Chiefs to kind of come back into that one. Cleveland and Chicago, not done, but it's 31-3 for all intents and purposes. That game is done. 2 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock. And then the final game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at New York. That's a 28-point lead. 4 minutes left as we just
Jets
heard.
are coming back.
Yeah,
Jets are coming back
as
for
we
sure.
just heard, all of the Jag starters are now being benched. So Travis Etienne cannot finish first, but start of the day in second place. Looks good.
I would like to get an update from Dub. Dub, could you walk us through every bet that you've made so far today? You don't have to give me the reasoning. I just want to hear. I just want to hear what it is.
So we picked up, what was it? A bunch at like 3%, 4% odds. All of them sunk to the sea. So we put everything I had left on the Los Angeles Rams or Chargers here at 20%. And it since rose to 78% and is now crashing down to 56%. But I also had a $300 side bet on the CSGO finals that's going on right now. It worked out really well, so I'm okay.
Oh, 4th and 5, and the Bills stop the
Nick
Patriots.
Bosa got a hand on that ball too, eh? He knocked it down.
No way. The Bills still 3 timeouts from the Patriots, so they have time. Not over yet. If they can get a 3 and out, they'll have a decent amount of time left to still work with. Max, out of all the bets that we just heard from Dub, any one in particular stand out to you as egregious? Are you betting at 3% likelihood anytime recently?
3% likelihood. I mean, wait, which game is that? The 3%?
he
All of them,
he
Max.
he's been just taking them all day throughout the day.
Oh, every single one at
Max,
3%.
to expand here before you give your answer, I want to make it clear. It's not today all day. This is Dub's MO. Anytime a
It's a
team
smart
drops below,
strategy.
anytime a team drops into single digit percentage likelihood to win, Dub's like, that's who I want to bet on.
Slam it.
You do it enough times, one of them's going to hit. So
That's what he keeps telling us, but it's been 3
I,
weeks.
I know friends that do the opposite, and they put all their money on the 97 percenters, but then when they lose everything. So
Yeah.
it's the game of numbers. I guess before I hop, this has been a great time, guys. I really appreciate it. I want to hear your picks for 4:00 for the 4 games that are going on then, or 5 games. Who you guys
All right,
have?
let me bring up the entire schedule, Sam, so you've got it all.
The underdogs, Max.
No.
That's it.
Okay.
I know who Dub's got his money on, but
So we got 5 games at the 425 slot. That's actually a wild afternoon slot. That's big.
That is
actually a great spot.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
have
good
Panthers Saints, we have Lions Rams, we've got Colts Seahawks, we've got Packers Broncos, and we've got Titans 49ers. I'll give you a really quick 5. For me, Panthers beat the Saints, Rams beat the Lions, Seahawks brutalized the Indianapolis Colts, the Packers beat the Broncos, and the 49ers beat the Titans.
49ers beat the Titans. Broncos beat the Packers. Fuck you. Seahawks brutalized the Colts. Can't say that's gonna go anyway. I said I would take the Rams. I'm gonna go Lions like money line if we account for whatever the spread is, because I assume they're underdogs there. And then I would do the same with the Saints. I think the Panthers. I think they're a bit fraudulent. They're probably going to be inconsistent, even though they've figured it out the last couple of weeks. And then the Saints hung in there against the Bucks. They're definitely not a good team, but they're at home and it's in the division. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Seahawks, Niners. I'm taking the Panthers though. I think Bryce Young's been playing really well.
Yeah, it's been.
And then give me 2 upsets: Broncos at home, and then Lions. Go Lions, baby! You need the dub today.
Yeah, you do need it.
All right, guys, I'm gonna hop.
Awesome, Max. Thanks for
Great.
being
Thank
up
you
here
so
with us,
much.
man.
Yeah,
A lot of fun.
appreciate you, brother. Have a great Sunday.
Yeah, you guys.
Sam, I just saw your note. Can you see or no?
Yeah, looking good now. Thanks, brother. Let's see what's happening on this. Did the Patriots end up getting the stop here?
Does not look like it. The Bills were exploding on the sideline, so you have to imagine that game has been put away.
Yeah, I'm confused. It looked like a really good result, and then they showed a clip where Josh Allen looked super pissed. So I'm confused how those two things can be true at the same time. But yeah, looks like it is indeed going to be a Buffalo victory. What a game!
The Bills. I just went through the playoff machine. They can't. I don't believe they can win. They can't win the division.
Yeah, I don't think so, because they have. Why is Bosa like raging? I don't know. I'm confused. Anyway, yeah, I don't think it is possible for the Bills to win the division, unless like they win out and New England loses out. Maybe in that scenario they must win.
Yeah, in that scenario they do.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this now.
The Bengals didn't remove snow from seats in violation of league policy. So not only did you have to watch your team put up a friggin' 0-point bagel against the most hated division rival, but you also had to sit on a literal block of ice while you did. That is a crazy way to spend $500, you know?
Like it's literally like it's not just snow, like you are sitting on an ice block. That's insane.
That's messed up, bro.
Is everyone standing in the game, or
I guess.
I'm trying to look at who the Broncos are playing to end this season, and it looks like I would say that the Chiefs or the Pats no longer have a chance really of winning or coming first in the AFC.
the Pats don't have a chance of coming first in the AFC.
It does not look unless the Broncos lose 3 of their next 4 games. So they have the Packers, they have the Jags, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. If they lose 3 of those, then New England can leapfrog them. But barring that, they own the tiebreaker.
I mean, it's definitely possible the Broncos lose 3 of the next 4. I remember whenever the Steelers were 11-1 a few years back, whenever Ben Roethlisberger was still playing. We did a lot of dink and dunk, screen plays, quick outs, sweep rushes and stuff. And then we ended up going 11-6. I'm trying to remember how many games there were in a season back then. I think it was 11-6. We lost 5 games in a row after winning 10 in a row. And it was like the most ridiculous exposing of something happens. Oh, Mahomes down and holding his knee.
Oh no.
Writhing in pain.
Wait, so should we sell Mahomes on football stuff? What's that mean?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, that's
a terrible end to a terrible season. And the worst part about it is, wait, what even happens? That's fuck, that hurts, dude. Sam, we lost you. Where'd you go? Well, I just realized now that I am alone here. Let's see if we can get Sam back on. If you're watching with me, we are just about to enter the witching hour. Just sent Sam a message here. Okay, we're going to take a really quick look at the... He's just said he refreshed. Okay, he is on his way back, and we will bring him back up. Just bear with me here, guys, as a second as I try and pull Sam up. Okay, I can see him. He's joined. There we go.
Test. We're back in action.
Dude, I asked you a question, and I'm like, where the fuck did these guys go? What's going on here?
We've disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Patrick Mahomes died, and so did... Yeah, they're... A guy that looks like a stripper from the 80s is warming up on the sidelines. I have no idea who their backup
Gardner
is.
Minshew, baby. That's
it's Minshew.
Sex icon, Gardner Minshew.
If you guys don't know, because you haven't been watching the NFL, one of the most hilarious players in the history. He used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, then was moved to the Raiders, now
the Colts,
on the Kansas City Chiefs. Actually had some great moments as Trevor Lawrence's backup whenever he exited the game to also a knee injury, speaking of Mahomes. And he was, I don't know, Gnoc, how do you describe this guy? Literally like a guy who runs a bowling alley.
He was a man who was born too late. Gardner Minshew is a 1960s LSD loving hippie who happened to be born in the late 90s. He's honestly like a pretty good quarterback. Was originally drafted to the Jags, I believe it was. Played some time in the Colts. He's one of 56 quarterbacks who have started for the Colts in the last 8 years. He spent some time in Indy. He's a lot of fun, dude. I went as him as Halloween one year, actually. Let's see if I can find that photo. I'll tweet it if I can. But he's
that does not surprise me.
Really funny dude.
That's fantastic. I got to see that picture.
Jackson Dart just throwing a terrible football.
Do you want to pull up the odds real quick too? I want to see what happened to the Chargers game now with Mahomes' injury. It's also going to be interesting to see what happens to Mahomes on FDF given the knee injury as well. You do get Gardner Minshew now as the backup, and Gardner has had some pretty decent games, but definitely not the name recognition of Mahomes, and definitely not the skills of Mahomes on a given day.
Really quick before we
down 15% in the hour.
Dub says Mahomes down 15% in the hour. I would say that's probably the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Guys, I almost just killed myself on a mint. I think we're okay. Really quick, we are now down to just 2 live games. The Jags game, which is winding down. The Chiefs game, which is winding down. That line, it is now 53% still for...
Yeah, you know why? Because Gardner Minshew just converted a giant 3rd and 7. to be able to get them into field goal range or
We
maybe
got
just
20
outside
here.
of field goal range.
20% change.
I will
They
say
were
this:
up to-
this is maybe a little bit of Caster's curse thing here. So I'm gonna feel bad if this happens. But Harrison Butker, the kicker of the Chiefs, has had a number of really bad misses this year, hitting uprights, missing wide right. He's kind of been uncharacteristically bad in these kick situations. Now they're in pretty tight. It looks like they're sitting on the 40 yard line of the Chargers. They want to get a little more yardage to put him in a position to kick this, but 27 seconds left on the clock. For all intents and purposes, guys, this is the last game in the 1 o'clock window. Ending gives you enough time, maybe 5-10 minute break before a 5-game slot at 4:25. Realistically, don't watch anything other than the Colts game. That's must watch TV with Phillip Rivers coming in. Here's the game.
Oh man, yeah. Sorry, just seeing some of my homies in football.fun chats talking about the Mahomes injury and what they're doing. One of them now says they own 200,000 shares of Lamar Jackson. They have fully rotated into Lamar,
Wow.
which is a pretty crazy commitment. He did have a great game today, at least compared to how he's been playing this season. Maybe not how he's been compared to playing last season, but that's either going to be a genius call or not so great. What would you rate that out of 10? Gnoc, getting 200,000 shares of Lamar Jackson.
I think it's a good one because Lamar runs a lot, and we talked about this earlier. I have it in that article that I posted at the beginning of the FDF season. Running quarterbacks, best quarterbacks for fantasy because they earn points at a significantly higher clip when you're on the ground versus passing the ball through the air. Unrelated to football in any capacity, our friend Jonah Blake just sent me a link of IGN showing us Fell Hollow, the expansion to RuneScape Dragon Wilds. If you don't know me, the two things that mean the most to me in my life, outside of obviously my friends and family, are NFL football, more specifically the Indianapolis Colts, and RuneScape. And this looks so fucking good. I cannot wait.
Nice, dude. I'm very happy for you, bro.
Dude.
I didn't know Dragon Wilds was even out yet.
It's
like I knew
so
you
good.
played it.
Dude, I feel like Minshew's gonna make a mint shake. At this point,
A mint shake.
That was
Oh my
He's
god.
was
gonna
crazy.
wonder, dude, is all I know.
Let's see. Drops back on the 40-yard line. 20 seconds. Game in hand.
Game.
Picked off. Dub the Prophet.
See, he made a mint shake.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Double down on it, dude.
I mean, not super surprised. Gnoc, I have to say a big thank you for the $50 because I did buy some chargers whenever you said that you were picking them. Dub also been beating the drum for quite a minute. Congratulations.
2x on the day. Let's go.
Hey, we love to hear it. Even with those 3% little rolls of the dice.
It's true.
Minshew tried to get it to Kelsey for the second time on that drive, wasn't able to get it over the defense. Classic. Great protection.
All right. With that comes the end of the 1 o'clock slots. Before we wrap this, I want to do one really quick thing. And the way that we end all of these shows is going through the FDF standings. And then the next natural ending of the show is we're going to sit here. We're going to say a couple things. We're going to realize that we don't know how to end a show. And then I'm going to cut to black. That's what's going to happen.
I know how to end it this week, Gnoc. We're going to say a prayer for Felipe Rivera.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to end this. Okay. Really quick, we're going to look at the quarterback position. Josh Allen ends the day at number 1, or ends the 1 o'clock window at number 1, mind you. Drake May and Caleb Williams round out that top 5. You have to imagine Caleb Williams and probably Baker Mayfield are falling off that list by the end of the day here. At the running back position, what an insane day. Bijan Robinson comes into the day at number 1, rank with 30 points, now ends at 4th. You have to figure that he's probably at risk of falling off that list entirely given the number of games that will still happen throughout the course of the day. James Cook in 1, Travion Henderson in 2. Our must-start, must-play running back of the day is... who did we have there? What has just happened here? Okay, we're going to go to lines. I'm going to bring this back up. Travis Etienne, I believe, was sitting at 4th place there, or 3rd place. Looks like my FDF just completely crashed, or my site, or maybe I exited the browser because I'm an idiot. Okay, back to clips. Here's what we got. Live scores. So go ahead.
Nice. Yeah. I was just gonna say, if you don't have it pulled up, I do. So it looks like we have James Cook in first, Travion Henderson just a point behind him, Travis Etienne about 3 points behind that. But John Robinson, man, 30 points and you end up fourth just after the late window.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the fact that he
crazy.
could have 3 touchdowns and then some worth of points and still maybe miss the top 5. And then we were saying DeAndre Swift and Dan must have been running laps around the house, but damn, he's already in 5th. I don't think he's going to make it. I mean, we still have the Lions and the Packers and stuff still to play. I don't think there's a good chance he stays up there.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, on the tight ends, Trey McBride, 40.4, so it doesn't quite break the record set by Kyle Pitts earlier this week, but still finishes the day in first. Have to imagine that there is not a snowball's chance in hell that anybody beats that. George Kittle, Tyler Warren, AJ from FDF earlier today said, hey, maybe George Kittle wins the tight end position. I don't see that happening with 40.4 points on the board for Trey McBride. Sam, your must-start tight end of the day. Hell of a day. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase finishes 1. Nico Collins finishes 2. BTJ in 3rd. Zay Flowers in 4th. AJ Brown in 5th. You have to imagine that AJ Brown, Zay Flowers, probably even Brian Thomas are likely not very safe at the points that they're at. Sam, anything else that you want to bring up before we go watch Phillip Rivers throw a football for the first time in 5 years?
Dude, all there is to say is enjoy this late window of games, man. Regardless of the bets that you place or the players you might have. My God, I can't remember the last time I saw 4 games out of the 5 like this that I was actually very interested in. Panthers and Saints, I guess you could say, is also not super interesting, but we'll take 3 of the best games that we've seen all year. The Colts and Seahawks, not because it's going to be close, because what a fucking storyline.
That's
dude.
I'm not even watching Red Zone. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah,
Like from
not a
from
chance.
4:25 until 8 p.m. I am glued to the Colts Seahawks. I think it's must-watch TV. It's going to be a spectacle one way or another. Best case scenario, Phillip Rivers plays well. We have the greatest story in the history of sports playing out in real time. Worst case scenario, it's an absolute fucking disaster. Either way, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that guy play. I would be looking at mention markets for this game, and I would slam like children, kids, grandfather. If grandfather, I don't know if it's available, but if grandfather is available as a mention market option on the Colts Seahawks game, slam it, because there's a 0% chance that they do not mention that he is a grandfather. He's the second grandfather to ever play football in the NFL.
That is insane call. I'm not seeing a mention, which is so disappointing now that you mention it. Speaking of, because that would be so incredible. Am I just missing it? Somebody tell me on Calci or Polymarket. Are you seeing any way to play mentions? Because I know you said they recently changed it so that it's not just primetime games. But I mean, what a disappointment to not have this one, because this is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. And like I said, right, we were going to walk through the FTF standings, and then we were going to sit here, say a bunch of random shit, and then cut to black, because we have not figured out how to end a show. And I can see Sam, I can see Dove in the background laughing. I can see my button hanging over the big button on my stream deck that says code red, which shuts it all down. All right. That was week 3 of Amplified. Holy shit. Been a ton of fun. Sam, I think we've covered everything. If you won, if your predictions were correct, I will reach out to you. Not today, because I'm going to go watch that Colts game. I will reach out to you some point tomorrow and Tuesday. We'll get you sorted, and then that pack cycle ends every Tuesday, so you'll have your updated rewards shortly after that cycle goes live. Sam, anything from you?
No, I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Getting to yap about football is the best job ever.
Awesome. Take it easy, guys. We'll catch you next week. See ya.
Later.